You know what I could have really used today, and it wasn't around for me? A foreskin. I'm not saying I resent my parents. I don't really think they put much thought into it, to be honest. I think people sometimes they overfixate on this, but and this is a circumcised bros moment here. You know how there's always like day to day, there's always like a very low chance, like you could get a low roll that your dickhead just takes a critical hit when you're like shuffling in your pants or like rolling around your bed sheets or whatever, where your dickhead could just get like abrased, you know? Zippers, yeah, something like that, right? Yeah, I rolled a nat one getting up out of bed this morning, and I've been pissy about it since, no pun intended. Wait, that's because I don't have a foreskin? If you had a foreskin covering your dickhead, then your dickhead wouldn't be fucking scraping against shit, dumbass. Obviously. Do the foreskin math. You heard Ruben meowing? He's been a damn menace. He's been a maniac. Like wearing jeans without underwear. Yeah, did you know that uncircumcised people wear jeans without underwear all the time? All the time. They get hard in them, they don't care. Well, actually, wait, then the foreskin would pull back. Guess that wouldn't work, really. That can't possibly be true. No, it's not possible. Uh, did you see one of the Venezuelan gang members? Well, yeah, I did a segment on him. My foreskin covers my dick erect. That's cool. Yeah, I saw the Glorp combo. I'm proud of you. I learned about r slash regrowing foreskin. Yeah, well, that's why it's on my mind, because last night at like 2 a.m., my friend, who, and this is important, is Australian, fucking held his phone in front of my face, and he was like, I don't know, cool, blimey, look at these mates' todges, look at him, he regrew his dang dick sleeve, and it was like 2019, circumcised 2023, there's the foreskin again, because he like stretched the dick skin or something like that. They can do that? I guess. I mean, there's like a subreddit dedicated to it. I don't know. I don't know if it'd be like worth the time. That can't be how it works. I mean, it works like that with every other body part, right? If you stretch it, it kind of grows. I don't know. Name one other body part that does that, the earlobes. Okay, I win. Should have said two body parts. The stomach. Well, the stomach doesn't stretch for the same reasons, right? The reason your earlobes and, I guess, foreskin stretch is because it's just skin and cartilage. Doesn't that just stretch do earlobes grow? What do you think it means for something to like stretch? It gets larger. People who have stretched earlobes, they're not like super thin or whatever. Like you stretch it out and there's like micro tear. And it's like growing muscle, right? It's like micro tears. But the stomach doesn't stretch for that reason. You know how people say they have a second stomach where you're full up on savory food, but then dessert comes out, and and then you can eat some more, and you genuinely feel like you have more room in your stomach. That's because you literally do. You know, like the reason your stomach stretches isn't because food is physically weighing it down. It's because your brain sends signals to your stomach to open it the fuck up whenever you're eating food. Yeah, Brain says tasty inbound. Brain says where we dropping, boys. A lot of eating disorders perma-enlarge. Well, it's like a half brain, half body thing, right? Because if you get your brain really used to some fucked up eating habits, then yeah, you can do that. Even before you consume anything, your stomach starts expanding in anticipation. That's why you feel hungrier when you smell food, yeah. It's so Jover. Mark Carney's new housing plan is set to double the rate of housing construction in Canada, and he just announced he's expanding the senior dental care and pharmacare coverage to the rest of the population now. Keynesian liberalism is back, and the welfare state is expanding in Canada. Well, that's fucking based. I mean, good. I mean, I want Canada to win. I want us to be consigned to the dustbin of history, you know? I know. I saw that he announced the elections. The elections are being called, what was it? April 28th? Right? So, just a little over a month. I saw that commercial that he did with Mike Myers, which was cute. And Mike Myers was wearing the jersey that said, like, never 51 or something like that. $37 points ahead in favorability over Polivier. That's so fucking good, man. Excuse me. Well, he'll probably win. Is it a great century to be Canadian? I mean, we'll see, right? Man. Mark Carney. It is the 28th, right? Yeah, 28th. Okay. Did you see that 1,000-year-old Roman bridge that got destroyed from floods in Spain? Surely no one cares about a Roman bridge that's only 1,000 years old, right? That's like way after the height of the Roman Empire. That's like what was it? It's like a Byzantine bridge or something. I don't know. They don't give a shit about the ruins over there, man. The Roman ruins to Europeans, they grew up in the shadow of that shit, you know? I don't know. What Mark Carney snap elections.
So let's turn to Canada because the new Prime Minister is expected to announce a snap election. He has been visiting the country's Governor General and he has just come out. So let's cross over live now.
2 months ago, I was at a rink in Edmonton where I'd learned to play hockey. And that's about as far as you can get from the grandeur of Rideau Hall. And I was there because I was putting up my hand to run for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada. And I was doing that because I knew our country...
Is this dude based or not based? He's a neoliberal, but he seems to be... I don't want to overly glaze him because you have to be careful with this stuff. For one, he's politically well positioned because he's being like pushed really hard against America. For two, he seems to be genuinely intelligent. Like he predicted the subprime mortgage loan crisis, and as a result, Canada was able to weather the 2008 recession a lot better than many other countries because he discouraged some of the risky gambling from local firms like ahead of time. You know, he's not very charismatic and he's not a populist. He does seem to be competent. He's like a competent administrator, and I think he's in a position where he's being given the opportunity to exercise more autonomy and more leeway than most administrators would. Most administrators, because they're not populists, you know, they're not like operating with the mandate of the people. They basically just fiddle with the numbers. But every once in a while, you get the opportunity to do some big fiddling, and that's usually because people are scared enough of an outside threat. And I think that might be what we're seeing because he's in a position now where he has a lot of political leverage, right? He has like a lot of you know, essentially political capital to burn through because Trump keeps threatening Canada. So we'll see, I guess. If he actually does, you know, lean into Keynesianism, that'd be nice. It's literally like the most effective way to run a capitalist government. So
needed to take action. We needed to act to fix our economy. We needed to act to fight the Americans. We needed to act to deal with Donald Trump's terrorists. Il y a 9 jours, notre nouveau gouvernement a prêté serment et nous sommes immédiatement passés à l'action. Cette semaine, nous avons conclu une nouvelle matière de
the audience that Mark Carney is holding that media conference. He's about to announce a snap election.
to end the division that it was creating amongst Canadians. Because we are
I did a shit job making my
stronger
coffee today.
together. We reversed the increase in the capital gains tax so that builders are encouraged to take risks and be
See,
rewarded.
here we have the neoliberalism bit. There is, okay, I really do not want what I'm about to say to be construed as a defense of liberalism, because it's not. But there is a difference between people who promote neoliberalism because they hate you and they want more money to go to corporations, and people who promote neoliberal policy because they want to incentivize investment out of a genuine interest in promoting business growth. Now, I'm not defending the policies, but there is a difference between those groups of people. There are legitimate arguments that you can make for incentivizing business investment. One of the main reasons I'm so like flatly, uniformly against neoliberal policy and any kind of like business incentivization is because I'm an American. In America, we don't need to worry about that as much. Capital flight, we're fucking America, you know? We are the center of the world economically. So we don't need to worry about sucking up the corpos as much. You know, we're already a plenty business-friendly country. Question from a non-Canadian, didn't this guy just win? Why is he calling for another election? He didn't win. He's taken over the Liberal Party, but he hasn't won as Prime Minister. So Trudeau stepped down and he's taken up. He's taken party leadership, which means that he's in charge as the Prime Minister. But he hasn't... He is the Prime Minister right now, but he isn't seen as the Prime Minister in like an electoral sense until he wins the election. You know? He wants to hold that election to prove, no, it's not just that I won within the party. I've won, you know, I've won the people. Why did Trudeau stand down? By a wide variety of reasons. He was not very well liked. I certainly don't like him.
Rewarded when they succeed. When I met with the premiers in Ottawa on Friday.
Oh, anyway, the point that I was making was like a lot of the reason why I dismiss business-friendly policies in the States is because we don't need the help getting capital investment. We're the United States. But if I was, say, for example, I don't know, in Argentina, you know, and we had a non-completely batshit insane governance over there, and I was advocating for like making the country better. Getting foreign investment would unfortunately be kind of like a necessary part of that. Unless you want to go full North Korea, it's pretty difficult to build a stable economy in the modern world without having like favorable trade relations with some other countries. You understand what I mean? Basically what I'm saying is like I hope that he is leaning towards these incentives in a genuinely not altruistic, I guess, like I hope he's not doing it for cynical reasons.
we agreed to eliminate barriers to trade and mobility inside our country. And the federal government is leading by committing to legislate the end of all federal barriers to interprovincial trade
I think
by
that's a good thing.
July 1st. Together, we will push to create one Canadian economy by Canada Day. Because
Interprovincial trade barriers are insane. That I genuinely have no idea. What the fuck are you what are you doing protectionism in each state for? That's just insane. So I'm glad he's getting rid of those.
we are stronger together. This past week, we acted to protect workers, using the proceeds of our retaliatory tariffs against America's unjustified trade actions. We acted to unlock major infrastructure projects and get them moving rapidly, including clean and conventional energy, critical minerals, and new trade corridors with reliable trading partners.
Yeah, in a shocking upset, we actually have, according to CBC, polling favors Mark Carney over Pierre Poilievre, which, I mean, this is, for one, like, the shift here has been astronomical. Like, we have gone from essentially a 100% chance of the Conservatives winning to a solid likelihood of a liberal government, or at least liberal coalition winning over. Now 48% of them winning a majority, which is like it's a different world. It's a different. It's an upset that I don't know enough about Canadian history to say whether it's unprecedented, but it feels unprecedented. Certainly, I've never heard of anything like this. I don't even know if I've heard anything like this in American political history. In the last few months running up to election, a literal flip with everything leaning in favor of the Conservatives, and then this, just incredible, genuinely incredible. You have the regional breakdowns, Quebec, Atlantic Canada. Ontario, pretty 50-50. Alberta, which is a lot more rural, a lot of conservative. Saskatchewan, likewise. British Columbia. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Look at this. Look at this. A lot of it is NDP voters moving over. Some of it is Bloc Québécois voters moving over, which is pretty impressive because you know how they are. Even conservatives. Just genuinely remarkable. It's been incredible. Just incredible to see. Bloc Québécois cons. They're Quebecy nationalists. I don't know. Not even separatists, really. They're French. They're French people. Somebody put French people in the dang Canada. Yeah, I guess they're nationalists. Mark Carney has a housing first policy, make housing more affordable. Canada has, I think, I could be off on this, I think they have the worst housing crisis of any, like, real country. I don't know if you could go to, like, the UAE and maybe it's worse there or something. I mean, in terms of real countries. It is so bad. It's much worse than the United States. If you think it's bad in the US, it's so much worse there. Worse than the UK? My understanding is yes. Double the pace of new housing construction over 10 years, boost innovation and productivity in housing construction to accelerate building speeds and lower building costs. Well, now that there will be fewer Canadian lumber firms selling their lumber down south, I mean, it'll probably be cheaper for them. That's nice. I hear Estonia has a very bad housing market too. Trying to fit a Disco Elysium joke into this because they're the ones who made... I mean, isn't there like 1 million people in Estonia? Like, for every 100 houses they build, they increase the total the total housing space of Estonia by a non-insignificant amount. Cut red tape, reduce fees, levies, and taxes. I touched on this a little bit when we talked about abundance liberalism and what a sham that is, but there is genuinely a lot of bullshit red tape and bureaucracy when it comes to local construction. People talk about government overregulation. Overregulation does not come from the federal government, where every bit of regulation has to make its way through like 57 squads of lawyers and lobbyists, you know? Overregulation comes from municipal governments, where in order to pass an ordinance, like it just takes 5 80-year-olds to go at a city council meeting, and then the mayor to sign it. It's like it's so much worse locally. I can't even talk about how difficult it is to build anything in Los Angeles, because if I talk about it, I'll want to punch my ticket out early, basically. It's so bad. Have you seen those shorts of the Canadian doing the house in Canada versus castle in Europe? I've seen these.
Canadian real estate versus literal European castles. Part 1. This is a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. They painted a lot of fun colors. They've got hardwood floors. Unlike in Part 2, the hardwood floors don't contain any grim reminders of the opioid crisis. I mean, I would go so far as to say that this house is something our parents' generation would have considered an acceptable starter home. And this stunning, actual house of a house can be yours for only $4.6 million. I checked the zoning on this one. It's RM4, okay? That's not even that good, dude. I even read the zoning bylaw on this one. The only way you can build a higher density on this type of property is if you do 100% social housing. And what do you think the odds of that are? I don't know. Let's roll for it. Okay, 4.6 mil for social housing. Here we go. Oh no, they bulldozed the downtown east side instead. But if you want to save a little money, you got Otterburn Castle in England. So what would you rather have?
Fucking £3 million for the castle. What's a starter home? I know this is crazy, but back when our parents were young, 30-year mortgages were not the norm, and it was conceivable to, as a newlywed couple, buy a small house and then live in it for a while, and then you start a family, and the family gets bigger, and you get higher paying, you get promoted within your workplace, and then you move into a larger house. There was a ladder. Yeah, there was a ladder you could climb. It was conceivable back then. I'm not saying that was the case for everyone, but it's like you level up, right? My life is like a video game, always trying to beat this. That guy's a king. I couldn't. People make fun of shit like that. Could you have recorded that video and done the multiple takes and then finally hit upload? I don't think you could have. I couldn't have. It's a banger, and he's brought a lot of joy to the world. Also, the conservative provinces might be digging their own grave. Yeah, I mean, never trust any areas that are, economically powered mostly on fossil fuels. Saskatchewan to join the U.S. states, Alberta, and Energy Security Coalition. That's great. Thank you, Saskatchewan. Thank you, Alberta. We'll leave them behind. Anyway, we were watching the future Prime Minister.
We acted to create new supports for farmers and businesses during this trade war. We expanded dental care for millions of more.
The Nazi rapist isn't a king, lol. The nerdy guy with the power glove that did the dance on the TikTok video is a Nazi rapist? Why is that? Can you substantiate that? That's an insane thing. The singer? Okay, when I say that guy's a king, I'm obviously talking about the one who did the dance. I don't know about the fucking song. The one who sings the song. I don't know anything about the song or the singer. I'm talking about the guy. Jesus, be careful, man.
For Canadians. And we took all of these actions and more to create the foundation to build a stronger Canada. There is so much more to do to secure Canada, to invest in Canada, to build Canada, to unite Canada.
If only he was more charismatic.
I'm asking for a strong,
I guess he's a banker,
positive mandate from my fellow Canadians. I've just requested that the Governor General dissolve Parliament and call an election for April 28th. And she has agreed. We are facing the most significant crisis of our lifetimes because of President Trump's unjustified trade actions and his threats to our sovereignty. Our response must be to build a strong economy and a more secure Canada. President Trump claims that Canada isn't a real country. He wants to break us so America can own us. We will not let that happen. We're over the shock of the betrayal.
I'm sorry, but he's so boring. I can't show it because it's actually, I could show it, right? There's no reason I couldn't show it. Normally when I see something that has a celebrity in it, my assumption is that I can't show it because it's probably content ID. This wouldn't be content ID. Hold on. Fashion.
I feel like there are two very different ways for someone to wear denim on denim. On one hand, you've got the country boy look.
I fucking love this
distressed
guy.
jeans, old Aaron Studios. Their founder's the guy that made those fish pants. If potential here, like maybe this is a outfit I would actually wear outside the house.
That shit rules. I'm sorry, I got distracted. What was I doing? Oh yeah. Mark Carney. I got a really cool, like, contemporary denim work jacket the other day. I'll show it off to you guys in a sec, though it doesn't really work with my shirt. Oh, if you type in Mark Carney on YouTube, Mike Myers is what it auto-completes with. That's really cool.
Je suis tellement fier des Canadiens. Je suis tellement fier.
Obviously. What are the 2 seasons in Toronto? Let's go. Mr. Prime Minister.
Why do they add music?
Mike Myers, what are you doing here? I just thought I'd come up and check on things. You live in the States. Yeah, but
They added brain rot music. Hold on, let me find the actual one. I'm sorry. You deserve better than this. One India News. Okay. Whatever, man. Here? Oh, thank you.
let's go.
I think it's cute.
Mr. Prime Minister, Mike Myers, what are you doing here? I just thought I'd come up and check on things. You live in the States. Yeah, but I'll always be Canadian. But you live in the States. Yeah, so? Do you remember Mr. Dressup, the children's show on CBC? What were the names of Mr. Dressup's 2 puppet friends? Casey and Finnegan, Bud, Spud, Howie, Meeker, Capital Saskatchewan, Regina, Tragically, Pip. You're a defenseman, defending a 2-on-1. What do? Take away the pass, obviously. What are the 2 seasons in Toronto? Winter and construction. Wow, you really are Canadian. Yeah, but let me ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, will there always be a Canada? There will always be a Canada. All right, elbows up. Elbows up.
Never 51. Isn't that cute? I think it's really cute. This probably goes crazy with, like, a specific kind of Canadian. It is insane how Trump literally just, like, handed this election to the Liberals. What's the elbows up bit? I assume it's a hockey thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm not Canadian. This is liberal Canadian Nirvana. It's cute, you know? It's cute. Canada is always... I think there's always been an effort on their part to define themselves. Like, there's a law where they like, produce local Canadian stuff and culture, and they fund it, and they try to, like, make sure that a certain percentage of the shit you see on TV or whatever is, like, Canadian broadcasting, so it's not just United States stuff all the time, because America produces so much culture that it overwhelms everything, you know? I don't know. It's hockey, it means to defend your teammate from the fight or whatever. Okay, so they're like saying, defend yourself against Trump. Okay.
But we should never forget the lessons. We have to look out for ourselves. We have to look out for each other. Nous savons que nous devons veiller les unes sur les autres.
So incredibly strong words there from Mark Carney.
Here at home. We can give ourselves more than any foreign government can take away. And the best way we can deal with this crisis is to build our strength here at home and help people who will be hit hardest by these tariffs. That's the right thing to do. That's the fair thing to do. That's the Canadian thing to do. That's what makes us strong. As part of that strategy, today I'm proposing a middle-class tax cut to help all working Canadians get ahead.
Oh, he's gonna win.
We will cut the lowest income tax bracket
He's
by
gonna
1
win so
percentage
hard.
point. For a middle-class tax cut that will benefit a 2-income family by up to $825 a year. Aujourd'hui, je propose de réduire les impôts pour la classe moyenne pour aider.
So Mark Carney there announcing that he is calling.
I'm asking Canadians for a strong, positive mandate to deal with President Trump and to build a new Canadian economy that works for everyone. Because I know we need change. Big change. Positive change. You see, my generation was fortunate. For us, there were more opportunities and life was more affordable. You had to work hard, but you could get ahead. That was the bargain. But for the generations that have followed, they're working just as hard or even
Do we
harder
want him to win? Yes.
than we did. But they're struggling to pay the rent, to put groceries on the table, and to save for their kids' educations. J'ai passé toute ma carrière à comprendre comment le monde fonctionne. Et
All
comment
right, all right.
The nation.
Enough woke
5 times.
DEI French.
So 28 to they're ahead. So
It's easy to be negative about everything when you've never built anything, when you've never had to make a payroll. But negative slogans aren't solutions. Anger isn't action. Division isn't strength. Negativity won't win a trade war. Negativity won't pay the rent or the mortgage. Negativity won't bring down the price of groceries. And negativity won't make Canada strong.
I think we'll cut it there. He seems like a shoo-in, just momentum-wise. It would be... Can you imagine what an upset it would be after all of this for Poilievre to win? You know, like he's just like completely checked out, and then he's just like, oh, I guess we won. It would be funny. It would be pretty bad, though. That'd be pretty bad. This is the upset. Well, that would be the counter upset. I know you already linked that, Masaigu one. You really should be careful. I know how much you like chatting. Reportedly, Pierre Poilievre asked Doug Ford for help with the elections, and Doug Ford told him he's swamped with work and is too busy to help the federal Conservatives with the election, and hung up. Good night, y'all. Doug Ford is forging a new path. That's really funny. Eh? Premier said he'll be staying out of the election. You're on your own, man. Doug Ford doesn't want to tie a, his doesn't want to hitch a rope to a sinking ship. It's Poilievre. So there's no R. Pierre Poilievre. There's no R. Poilievre. There's no R. The French need to figure their shit out, is what I'm saying. Basically. Poilievre. Oui, oui.
If you're Canadian, keep watching. It's election time.
What if you're an
I've just
American who
requested
supports
that the Governor
Canada and the war
General
on
dissolve
America?
Parliament and call an election, and she has agreed.
The campaign will last 36 days, and the election will be on April 28th. There are 343 ridings up for grabs across the country. That's 5 more than the last election. Each one has a corresponding seat in the House of Commons. Here's what the House looks like right now, with the Liberal minority government. The Liberals have 152 seats. The Conservatives have 120. The Bloc Québécois have 33. The NDP have 24. The Green Party has 2. 3 MPs are sitting as independents, and 4 seats are vacant. For a majority government, a party needs to win at least 172 seats, but a minority government can be formed with fewer than that. Mark Carney has only been Prime Minister for about a week after he won the Liberal leadership and Justin Trudeau officially resigned. If the Liberal Party loses this election, Carney would be Canada's shortest-serving Prime Minister. That title is currently held by this guy, Charles Tupper, who was Prime Minister for 69 days in 1896. Now in Canada, we don't vote directly for the Prime Minister.
Is this a Canadian version of the Electoral College? No, the Electoral College is a icon of profound retardation that is specific to our country. It's just a standard, parliamentary system.
We vote for our local member of parliament, and the leader of the party with the most MPs elected becomes Prime Minister. The main party leaders are Mark Carney for the Liberal.
Like, American democracy is shockingly bad. Like, it's obviously worse now, but even before, like, we are leagues behind every other developed country, basically. it's really bad. The Senate and the existence of the Electoral College both, like, we are quite a bit behind. I don't know, it's pretty bad in the UK too. Whatever.
Pierre Poilievre for the Conservatives, Jagmeet Singh for the NDP, Yves-François Blanchet for the Bloc Québécois, and Elizabeth May and Jonathan Pedneau co-lead the Green Party. Currently, Carney doesn't have a seat in the House of Commons, and he's never held elected office before. He's running in the Ottawa riding of Nepean. You can look up your riding on the Elections Canada website. To vote, you need to be a Canadian citizen, at least 18 years old on election day, and have proof of your identity and address. You can vote on election day or earlier during the advance polls. You can also request a mail-in ballot if you're outside of the country. You'll be able to find all that information on the Elections Canada website once it's available. And
at all? No. Nowhere.
Leading up to Election Day, we'll be answering your questions. So tell us what you'd like to know about the party platforms and the issues that matter most to you.
Well, that's good. I haven't heard anything from Pierre in such a long time. Poilievre, there we go.
Respect Donald
says Canada has to be both respectful and firm with Trump. Now this is a winning message.
Trump? Do you respect Donald Trump?
I respect the office of the President of the United States, and we have to show respect to other world leaders. The bottom line is the Americans buy 75% of our goods. So whoever's the Prime Minister is going to have to, at some point, deal with President Trump. He was only elected a short time ago. He's going to be around for 4 more years. You can be respectful and firm, and I believe we have to be both.
It's no surprise this guy's falling behind in the polls.
I will insist the president recognize the independence and sovereignty of Canada.
Just it's a message of like overwhelming weakness in comparison, especially for conservatives too. Like a lot of you have this schism here because a lot of Canadian conservatives like MAGA because MAGA is kind of like the global fascist epicenter right now. But at the same time, like this runs contrary to any nationalist instinct that any Canadian conservative might have, right? Like you are so cucked here.
I will insist that he stop tariffing our nation.
Please stop.
And
please,
at the same time, I will strengthen our country so that we can be capable of standing our own 2 feet and standing up to the Americans where and when necessary. That's what it means when I say...
That's a pretty building. Is that... We saw that building a few weeks ago, right? That's the... That's one of the provincial government houses. What is that? Is that just a hotel? Okay, maybe it's not the building I remember seeing.
Let's put Canada first for a change.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's his campaign announcement.
Our nation is more divided than ever before because the liberal, radical, post-national, borderless, and globalist ideology has weakened our nation. Now, desperate for a 4th term, Liberals have replaced Justin Trudeau with his economic advisor and hand-picked successor, Mark Carney. But a Liberal is a Liberal is a Liberal. It's the same old Liberal MPs, the same Liberal ministers, the same Liberal advisors, the same Liberal elites, the same broken Liberal promises of the last 10 years. We cannot afford another lost Liberal decade. We need to put Canada first for a change, with a new Conservative government to axe taxes, reward work, unleash entrepreneurs, harvest our resources, make things here, build homes for our youth, secure our borders, rebuild our military, honor our history, and raise our flag.
It's just so hard to be MAGA light when Trump hates your country. Even my super conservative older in-laws from rural Alberta are anti-Trump and despise MAGA conservatism. Pro-Trump sentiment in Canada is almost exclusively young disenfranchised men. Yeah, it's like, it's the stuff you see where like there are older conservatives who genuinely love this country, even if they are really misguided and vote for Trump. But younger conservatives fucking hate everything and everyone around them. They despise everything. They want a girlfriend, but they wouldn't know what to do with one because they hate being around women. You know? They hate their country. They have no allegiance to any culture. They're cultureless. They have no culture. They have no nation, no identity. They're just hateful. That's it. That's literally all they feel. It's insane.
It starts with a big bring it home tax cut on work, investment, energy, and home building. We'll lower taxes to bring home businesses and to make sure Canadians bring home more of their paychecks. And that starts with axing the carbon tax, the entire tax, a tax that the Liberals, with Carney's enthusiastic support, brought in for 7 years.
That's great, man. Oh, what's in the recommended? We've got Baldur's Gate 3 challenge video, fashion, Invincible clip, politics, fucking love Edgy Albert. He's so hot. Canadian politics, fashion, restoration video, my mechanics, my goat, more like, politics, and Mandalore Gaming. There we go. You judge a man by the quality of his recommendations, you know? And I stand judged. And you know what? I think my heart's looking lighter than a feather. Thank you. I love Mandalore Gaming. Oh, he's a goat. He's the goat. Not even a goat. He's the goat, easily. Mine is Vosh and Dan Henschel. Now that's a recipe for mental wellness right there. Just on the 12 video lineup, just 6 Vosh, 6 Dan Henschel. You've got it. You're locked the fuck in. You're ready for whatever life's gonna throw at you. Hell yeah. From the data scientist behind one of the major polls in Canada, he's found that people who see Conservative Party ads are less likely to vote Conservative after. Huh. Net impacts on vote intention, highly significant net negative, which lines up with vote intention trends. That's crazy. Maybe they need more funding, you know? We should fund them. Get those ads out more. Excuse me. The ads are so bad. I mean, we just saw what Pierre had to offer for his announcement video. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith is under fire for a Breitbart interview she did, asking Trump to lay off the tariff threats until after a Canadian federal election. Okay, yeah. So she wants Pierre to win. Gotcha. Sickening, and she's a traitor. And in a sane world, Canada would hold her accountable for that. America is an enemy nation. All right. Nasty woman. Nasty woman. Isn't Steven Crowder Canadian? A lot of people are Canadian. We send you our worst. Also, a lot of actors. I mean, there's not really a Canadian Hollywood, so a lot of Canadian wannabe actors, you know, they come down to Los Angeles. There is, it's Vancouver. Yeah, having cheap VFX work outsourced there does not make it Vancouver Hollywood. Thank you. What is this? In an interview, Chuck Schumer says, "My job," he told me, "is to keep the left pro-Israel." That's great, man. Love this guy. Phenomenal stuff. Keep? Well, his left probably means the liberals. He sucks at it too. Yeah, no, he does. The Democratic constituency is more anti-Israel than they literally ever have been. He warned that the greatest danger to Israel long-term is if you lose half of America, the liberal half. On one of Netanyahu's previous visits to the United States, Schumer told me he urged the prime minister to, quote, go on Rachel Maddow and not just Sean Hannity. Netanyahu ignored the advice, and Schumer, in a Senate speech, later called for new elections to replace him, for which he remains fiercely proud. It showed Democrats, he said, that it's possible to oppose Netanyahu while championing the Jewish state. He's been doing a phenomenal job opposing Netanyahu. My job, he told me, is to keep the left pro-Israel. And then they say, apparently more than halfway into this interview, or the write-up in the interview, there's right-wing anti-Semitism. Oh, just, as a side thought. I mean, you've got left-wing anti-Semitism, like please stop bombing children. You've got right-wing anti-Semitism, like the Nazis. There are left-wing anti-Semites. It's just they're almost meaningless. They genuinely, like, there are like edgy pan-Arabists on Twitter. There are like Islamists who pretend to be leftists as like a shared wedge against Israel. There is a lot of anti-Semitism out there that's not from like the Western right wing. Like, you've got a lot of Arabs in the Middle East who are very anti-Semitic. There's no denying that. The Houthis are anti-Semitic. Hezbollah is anti-Semitic. Hamas is largely anti-Semitic, I'm sure there are people who join Hamas mostly for like militant, like liberationist causes, but yeah, absolutely, there's anti-Semitism in Hamas. But let's talk about, I don't know, Colombia student protesters or whatever. Colombia's kowtowed further to the fucking Trump presidency in an effort to get their money back because the Department of Education withheld like $400 million from them or something on account of the protest they allowed to happen. They're turning Colombia into like a police state. Sorry, I looked for a write-up and this is like quite long. I'm not reading this shit. They're going to be cracking down on protests more. Phenomenal stuff, really. Then there's right-wing anti-Semitism. Just as some anti-Israel demonstrators use the word Zionist as a substitute for Jew, corners of the right have had their own coded anti-Semitic language, like neocons or globalists. Oh yeah, just the corners of the right wing that use globalist as an anti-Semitic dog whistle. Just, you hear it sometimes. Not just from, like, the President of the United States of America and every single person in the party. God. Here's a better write-up on Colombia's policies. CNN being collaborationist as always. Columbia University makes policy changes in dispute over federal funding. What policy changes? CNN, out of curiosity. Restrictions on demonstrations, new disciplinary procedures, and immediately reviewing its Middle East curriculum. Oh, great. Literally, like, everything and everyone must be subservient to Zionism. It's on every level, no protesting. You can protest the U.S. government, but God forbid you protest Israel. If those Columbia student protests were just anti-U.S. government, you know what the pushback would have been? Nothing. You know why? Because everyone knows. If you protest the U.S. government, what happens? Nothing. It's still there tomorrow. You protest Israel enough, people actually start to get pissy about it. Because Israel's a different country. Same with the Vietnam War, right? You can protest the American government all you want. It's still going to be there tomorrow. You protest the Vietnam War enough, people will start to want to bring the boys back home. So you got to make that shit illegal. You got to do the Kent State Massacre. The Trump administration demanded several changes, including the university enforce its disciplinary policies, implement rules for protests, ban masks, announce a plan to hold student groups accountable, empower its law enforcement, and review its Middle East Studies program and its admissions. It's just unambiguously kowtowing to a fascist administration to make people more allegiant to Israel. Ban masks so that the cameras can always see who you are, so they can freeze your bank accounts if you're ever seen in public informing people about like illegal airstrikes against refugee camps in the West Bank. Kathy Hochul removed the Palestinian studies job opening from CUNY. Yeah, no. It's beyond just Trump. Well, of course it's beyond just Trump. The entire, yeah, Kathy Hochul 100% is behind. It's the MIC, baby. It's not just Trump. Democrats did this too. Biden literally did this. Biden literally, at the height of the student protests, was like, you know, free speech and all, but also like you're anti-Semitic, basically. Remember? Leo Terrell from DOJ says they're not getting the money back after the changes. Good. Fuck you. Anyway, what was I on about? Chuck Schumer? Jesus Christ. It's all a part of this fucking book tour, right? You know, countries being taken over by fascists. Chuck Schumer pushes to pass a Republican stopgap bill and then goes on a tour so we can talk about left anti-Semitism or whatever. He looks so evil. Well, you know, he is evil. He's extremely evil, as a matter of fact. Derided by the MAGA right and yelled at by the far left, outside of Katz's Delicatessen, it's hard to imagine a more Jewish place to be. Fuck you. The painting of the Jewish identity as like the Zionist who must stand stalwart in like opposition to people protesting both against your existence as a Jew and your unwavering support for Israeli genocide it's just absolutely sickening. It's really patronizing. It's more than patronizing. It's monstrous. It's also deeply anti-Semitic, by the way. It's no different than any previous like historical framework meant to paint like an atrocity being committed by perceived committed by an ethnic group as being like an innate component of their identity. You can think Lebensraum with the Aryans or westward expansion, you know, with the American settlers, where you try to make it this like innate. The difference here being is that rather than this being painted by the group itself, you know, it's not like Jews are running anything. Anti-Semitism is more widespread than ever. Well, not than ever, I should say. It's currently resurging. It's being painted on them. It's like a shadowy cabal of, let's be real here, largely secular, extremely evil MIC pedophiles who are like, hey guys, just to let you know, all this stuff that's happening, the reason why all this money's being circulated, all this harm's being done, it's down to this already persecuted ethnic group. Blame them. I guess they learned their lesson after Vietnam or whatever, right? Like Vietnam was too obviously America, you know? You give people too clear of a target. Too like obvious a group to blame. Now everything has to be done through a fucking wedge. It's sick. No. Speaking of Schumer, says he won't step down as Senate Democrat leader despite government funding uproar. That's great. That's great. Obviously, he's not going to step down. He would need to be forced out. But will they force him out? Goebbels literally said opposing National Socialism is the same as opposing the German identity. Yeah, it's just like, I feel like what's actually happening, if we want to go with the Nazi comparison, a closer comparison would be if the Nazis in the lead up to their complete takeover of the Weimar government ran a psyop where they started promoting like key government and business figures who were Jews, paying them to say shit like, listen, you know, defrauding German banks and causing us to lose World War I is just part of our Jewish identity, to get everyone to fucking hate them and to have, you know what I mean? it's like, obviously that's a little bit more obvious than what's going on right now, but that feels like it's like that level of like cynical weaponization, you know? Like, hey, look over here. You would only need to pay off a few people, and then you could create this narrative of how, like, well, actually, don't you know it's anti-Semitic, da-da-da. And then, like, of course, that's only going to inflame anti-Semitism. I feel fucking bad for Jews in this country, man. Whatever happens with Israel, this is going to be like hundreds of years of these like ethnic, the like political scapegoating. This shit goes down so far. Like there are like great like people who aren't going to be born for hundreds of years, and they're still going to be getting like hit with the repercussions of this. What is this? Passenger says a United pilot forcibly removed him from an airplane bathroom. Now he's suing. What? An Orthodox Jewish pastor says United Airlines pilot forcibly removed him while he was trying to shit, exposing his genitalia. Wait, what does this have to do with what I was saying? Did you just are you a Chat GPT bot? Is it because the article had the word Jewish in it, so you were like, this is relevant? Thanks for feeling bad for us, Vosh, but the Zionist Jewish and Zionist Christian community have earned this animus for centuries. Yeah, but like, let's be real here, okay? I think most Jews in America are Zionist, but they didn't really have much of a choice, right? Like, we're talking about tight-knit, relatively small communities where you are getting fed propaganda like 24/7 about the necessity of a Jewish homeland state. You are a persecuted minority, okay. And then like both political parties are pushing a narrative about how like marginal outgroups are infringing on this like necessary survival right on your part. Like I reject the idea that the majority of Zionist Jews are Zionists out of the like hatred of Palestinians or whatever mobilizes the people who are actually making these decisions. You know, they're not all fucking Ben Gvir or whatever, right? Yeah, they're passively Zionists. Yeah, you get the propaganda trip for Israel. You get the birthright trip, which is literally just like the state of Israel paying people to be Zionist. Laban, a fellow Orthodox Jewish traveler, said the pilot made disparaging remarks about their faith. They said they were forced to miss a connecting flight to New York City while U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers paraded them through an airport terminal, placed them in holding cells, and searched their luggage. Wait, what? The pilot broke the lock, forcing the bathroom door open, and pulled out the guy with his pants still around his ankles. Laban Sebeg said the pilot then pushed them back into their seats while threatening to have them arrested and made remarks about their faith and how Jews act. You know, Jewish guys, they're always getting constipated? Huh. Well, that's a fucking lawsuit. They do be shitting. That's an easy lawsuit. Does this pilot still have his job? I mean, fuck, not for long. But he was probably jerking it. Have you ever tried the shit on an airplane while you're constipated? I haven't. I have to imagine that's hell. How'd the pilot know the guy in the bathroom was Jewish? Well, they say Orthodox Jewish, so I'm guessing you could probably tell. I don't know how we ended on that, but I guess that's probably a better endpoint than the broader point that I was making, I guess, which is that we need to replace Schumer with, you know, someone who isn't that bad. I don't fucking know. Jesus, man. Former AG dead due to mysterious cause. Yeah, you fucking people keep linking me stuff about that. Linkers. Former U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, Jessica Aber, was found dead Saturday morning. According to police, she was 43. Okay. Called to a home on Beverly Drive in the suburb of Washington, D.C. at around 9:18 a.m. Saturday for the report of an unresponsive woman. They found Aber dead inside. How do you get a call for an unresponsive woman? Like, was there a person in the house? How do you figure that? Police said an investigation is underway surrounding the circumstance of her death. People see them? Like if you're laying in bed? I would hope not. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner will determine the cause and manner of death. Most by administration. Started working in the office in 2009. The problem with the mysterious death of a prosecutor is that there are literally like a million possible reasons for it. Like, there's a lot, and people hate prosecutors. Powerful people hate prosecutors. That's kind of the nature of the job. If there's no report of wrongdoing, why is this news? I mean, a young, presumably healthy, former U.S. attorney found that, you know, people get conspiratorial about this stuff. I don't know if there's necessarily like any like reason for it outside of that. Pam Bondi tweeted, you know, "Good night, y'all. Heartbreaking to learn about her death," so on and so forth. Any information at all? Same damn article. Everyone just copies and pastes off the same goddamn article. She was looking into Russian influence over the U.S. Well, it says she's a former U.S. attorney. When did she step down? Are they only saying former because she died? Well, she is now for sure. Okay, she stepped down for the Trump administration. Okay, gotcha. January 20th. I don't typically think they say former when you lose the job because you die. Like, they don't say former cop if a cop gets killed in the line of duty, right? That'd be confusing. You would assume they were a retired cop or whatever. And she was looking into this. 2 Russian nationals charged in connection with operating billion-dollar money laundering services. Justice Department seizes web domains for multiple illicit crypto exchanges. I mean, people, you want to be conspiratorial about this, but like the problem is, again, isn't like the unexplained death of a U.S. prosecutor always going to lead to these kinds of conspiracies? Like, they're always doing something like this, right? In charge of high-profile cases targeting CIA leaks. Give me information, video.
Police are investigating after former U.S. attorney for Eastern District of Virginia was found dead. Authorities discovered 43-year-old Jessica Aber in her Alexandria home yesterday morning. Aber has appeared on
this
Fox
the one
5
involving
on the Hill
Temple?
before. She was nominated to the U.S. attorney role in 2021 by former President Joe Biden. Aber resigned from the high-profile role just before President Trump was sworn in January. Virginia Attorney General Jason Miera is reacting to Aber's death overnight, posting online about her public service, sending the state's thoughts and prayers to her family. Eric Siebert, the current U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, also releasing a statement describing Aber as an unmatched leader, mentor, and prosecutor, and irreplaceable human being. Right now, the cause of Aber's death remains.
Well, without any knowledge of how she died, what can you really say, right? Prior to her resignation in January, as President Trump took office, the Biden-nominated attorney saw one of her biggest wins in court when ex-CIA analyst Asif Rahman, 34, pleaded guilty to leaking top-secret documents about Israel's plan to strike Iran last year. Oh, a new possible agitator, a new threat. The high-profile case saw Rahman posting documents detailing Israel's October strike on Telegram, forcing the Jewish state to hold off on the retaliatory attack against Tehran. Abaret slammed Rahman's actions a violation of his oath, his responsibility as law. As she said, the leaks placed lives at risk, undermined U.S. foreign relations, and compromised our ability to collect vital intelligence in the future. She also led the case against Eleview International, a Virginia-based company whose 2 senior execs were accused of running 3 different schemes to illegally transship sensitive American technology to Russia, according to the DOJ. I don't think that has anything to do with Tim Pool. The case came just 2 months after Aber secured indictments against 2 Russian nationals accused of fraud and money laundering. Yeah, you're always going to have enemies, right? You're always going to have enemies in this line of work. I don't know. They don't even say how she died. What, she was just laying there? I don't know. I think this is related to the Israel bit. I don't know. Whatever, who cares? Be conspiratorial. Who fucking cares anymore? There's no point in, like, being, you know, argumentative about conspiracism in an environment where the U.S. government is this brazenly corrupt, you know? It literally, like, what's it? Like, what? Who fuck? I don't fucking care. Whatever. You know what? I bet it is a conspiracy, but it wasn't any of the listed actors. I bet it was Azerbaijani nationals. I choose to blame Boeing. Could have been Boeing. Oh yeah, Chuck Schumer has been arguing with Nancy Pelosi. So funny. So funny. To be so hated that you can't pretend it's just the radical left pushing against you when Nancy Pelosi is suggesting that you can't do your job. Yankees great announces death of 14-year-old son after tragedy strikes. We're on New York Post, right? You go down to the comments. Vaxxed? 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 No? 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 No, my stereotype, my negative presumptions are being... They're not being supported. No! None of them said vaxxed. My cynicism, it hasn't been validated. It's rough. Is there any hope for the future anymore? Are we cooked? Quit being a fucking pussy, dude. You don't want an actual answer on that, okay? What you need is emotional stability. Clean your fucking room. But it's a stupid question to ask. Like, what do you mean? Sorry? That's right. But sorry isn't enough. Clean your room. I already cleaned my room. Okay, and when was the last time you vacuumed? Have you dusted recently? Have you wet a paper towel and run it through the grooves of the window frame to get all the crud and dust and, like, gunk that settles in there? Have you washed dishes? When was the last time you did laundry? Have you done laundry but you haven't steamed and ironed your garments? Do you even own anything that needs to be steamed or ironed? And call your mother. Unless she's a stupid bitch. In which case, whatever. She is? Okay, well, there you go. It's a goddamn gnat in here. It's been the same one for like a week now. It's really pissing me off. Do gnats even live that long? I guess that's a good question. Maybe not, I'm not sure. Maybe it's 2 gnats? Well, it's gone now. Just carry one of your cats near it and have them try to swat it. Oh yeah, prime entertainment for them. 100%. I recently joined a dating app. I've never asked someone out in my life. I have no clue what I'm doing. Any good advice, chat? A dating app, regardless of the app, is like a totally different environment to trying to interact with people in real life. But that's only because you're not familiar with the patterns. Look at how other people design their profiles and try to get a feel for what you like. When you're looking at profiles, what do you like seeing in them? You know? Obviously, you like it when they're attractive. Okay. But what kind of photos? What kind of stuff do you like seeing in the bio? Get a feel for what people are interested in and try to model that yourself. Do you have good photos up? Is your bio interesting? Do you even want it to be interesting? Maybe it'd be better to just play it casual and say like, hey, looking for a person to go to a fucking music event with, you know, hit me up if you're interested in these bands or something like that. You can do whatever you're into, you know, just don't freak out over it. Also, it's an unfair game, especially if you're a guy. So, you know, just don't take it too serious. Honestly thought the clean your room advice was dumb until I actually stood up and did it. Getting my life together and literally cleaning my room did wonders for my mental health. Mad about it, but thanks. Yeah, it's pretty fucking frustrating, huh? It's like when you see those posts on social media where people are like, guys, I've got really bad news. Sleeping a consistent schedule and working out every day actually really makes a huge difference. And it's like, fuck! God damn it. I thought that the weird miasma of unhappiness and lethargy that's cast a pall on my entire life would magically go away one day without any real changes to my day-to-day schedule. Fuck! I thought that, like, all of the irrefutable evidence that living healthily would improve your life was somehow wrong in my specific case, and in actuality, I was, like, the one exception, and I could have a comparably positive life without doing those things. Fuck! You know, I'm just like, it's yeah, it's frustrating, but unfortunately it's the greats. It's the greats, you know? I thought my self-deprecating jokes would save me. Yeah. I already have a clean car, so I already have a clean room, so I clean my car instead. Yeah, keep your car clean. People keep their cars filthy. Just, you know, give it a wipe down. You know? 30 minutes with, like, one of those, like, rolls of cleaning wipe. You know what I mean? The, like, wet ones you can get at a grocery store, where you pull it, and it's just, like, all-purpose wipe down wipes or whatever. The ones that are, like, kind of saturated. I don't know what they're called. I really want to deep clean my car, but the money's a bit too tight for the supplies. Yeah, well, you can get 90% of the way there with like a $3 thing of those wipes, I bet you. Lysol wipes? Yeah, maybe. Or just a rag. Or just a rag. Literally just a rag. Yeah. Soapy water and a rag. Get crazy with it. Old shirt. Some Hanes. Whatever. Sorry. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Just don't take the dating apps too seriously. Vosh so out of touch he couldn't come up with hardware store and just said grocery store because that's the only kind of store his maids have told him about. How far do you have to be from being a like legally able to vote resident of the United States, that you think the only place you can get Lysol wipes is from a hardware store. Oh yeah, going down to Lowe's to get the little plastic tub of wet wipes. The fuck are you talking about? Who the fuck if you're gonna come at me on this, you have to have a little more life experience, okay? You can get that shit from a gas station. Hardware store? Oh yeah, you know, there's the lumber. Over here is the tiling. When you want to install the tiling, it's all the tools, you know. And then there's the fucking Lysol wipes. I mean, they got them. They got everything there. But that's what you're going down there for? Jesus. I'll get everything from a grocery store if I can, by the way. I don't like shopping for the most part. I find it to be tedious because I eat basically the same foods every time. I'm not a big cooking guy, which is why I do the rice and beans bit. You learn how to cook the simple stuff, you can make a bunch of different configurations. You learn how to make beans and rice, all of a sudden Mexican food is open to you. You know, you can make a burrito, taco, quesadilla. You can do a lot of stuff, right? Relatively simple. But I'm not like a huge cooking guy. I tend to get, if I can go to a grocery store and buy like 10 items, but I buy like 5 of each of the 10, you know, like I just stock up on a few basic things. And I'll get the stuff there while I can. You know? Going to the hardware store. How often do you need... I have a full set of power tools. I don't want to hear it from you people, okay? I've made modification. I know what I'm doing, all right? It's pretty easy. You just have to have the confidence to do it. Local food co-ops are great for finding cheap produce as well. Oh yeah, for sure. But Harbor Freight's really fun though. It's fun to pick up the 26-pound pipe wrench and like hold it in both hands like you're two-handing a Dark Souls weapon. I can't really do much. I've got the stuff I need, basically. I've got the power drill and the sander and the so-and-so. You know, I've got the stuff that I need to do whatever I want to do in the house. I've got the pipe, the plumbing replacement equipment with like the PVC stuff that you can use to replace the pipes in a pinch. Yeah, I've got what I need. What brand of power tools do you own? I'm gonna show my hand here, the yellow ones. No, I don't remember the names. I just know yellow. You've got the yellow ones, you've got the orange-red ones, and the green ones. DeWalt? There you go. I like the yellow ones. I trust them. And now now I know I understand team sports too, because now I just do the yellow ones, even if there's no reason. Like if I need a tool and they're out of the yellow one of the tool that I need, I just go elsewhere because it's like, well, I'm a yellow guy. I can't be fucking with my identity like that. You know? Yeah, I want the stacking set bonus. I'm sorry, Staunch Kate. What's the maximum RPM you can get your hand drill? I don't know. Wait, hold on. Chat's gonna be mad at me. I don't think I'm DeWalt. I think I'm Ryobi. I think in my head I was thinking like yellow-green, like lime. I actually don't remember what color it is. It's one of the two. It's either yellow or lime green. But now I don't remember. I'm looking right now at the tools, and I don't remember which color I have. Maybe I'm a lime green guy. Unsubbed. Fuck you. We need to move on. Can you cover the Elon Musk utensil trick shit? If you want me to cover like a viral video that I've already referenced and everyone's already talked about, wouldn't it be better for me to talk about the that insanely funny, that exceptionally funny self-help video that everyone's been dunking on, the one where he wakes up at like 3:58 a.m. and then spends 3 hours dicking around, like dunking his face in water or something? It's really funny. It's so good. Yes, please. No, well, I'm not going to talk about it because like everyone's already said it. The video's been dunked on. How many views does that video have? 592 million views. Like that is one of the most viewed tweets I've ever seen. Everyone's already. Why does every self-help video seem to one-up one another? You know what's funny? People used to make fun. Yeah, you're not going to believe this. People used to make fun of women for watching vapid, asinine, unhelpful self-help content, reading self-help books, whatever. Now it's exclusively a male thing. It literally like 100% a guy thing. Where they'll watch like these insane men's fitness grifter influencers lie about their day. You know, like the reason you haven't locked in and maxed your potential and unlocked your gains is because you don't tape your mouth when you're asleep or some shit. And they're always selling some product. It is pretty funny. See, I forgot about that, Dana. I forgot about that. The Liver King is so funny. Yeah, but it's literally like they're all the Liver King. It's all the same guy, right? They're all the exact same person. They're doing the same bit every time. Please show the video. You've all seen the video. God, this guy's tits are jiggly. I have not. You're missing out. It's phenomenal. I like when he gets on the treadmill, and because this guy weighs like 220 pounds of lean muscle, he's like stomping on the treadmill and it's shaking. It's really good. Can we address him wearing jewelry while running? And in the pool? I mean, you can wear jewelry in a pool, right? But, you know, I don't know. I'm not a real men's accessory wearer, I guess. I'm not taking my watch into the shower. Most watches are meant to be waterproof. He has a new video where he adds fruit to the face water. That's phenomenal. I mean, obviously, like, the purpose of these videos, in addition to building a brand and probably shilling for that brand of bottled water, which is probably like $12 a bottle or some shit, is to make men feel insecure about their lifestyle so that they can compare it to people faking their lifestyles. I guess I just, like, you make fun of it, but there are literally millions of young men who fall for shit like this. Like, this one is getting dunked on. But just this one. I mean, not just this one, but like, there are so many videos and influencers like this. So many of them. I'm 90% sure this is satire. That's the fucked up thing. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. It reads like satire to us now because everyone's dunking on it, but this to me is not that different from many other videos in the genre. It's the same damn thing. This is just the one that got selected. He is in very good shape. God, that suit looks terrible. Him getting handed shit is so funny. Well, yeah, because making food is woman's work. Why the banana in the face? I don't know, man. Why don't they show the woman's face? Why would you do that and ruin the fantasy? It's probably not bad for your face, but probably unnecessary. Yeah, I would say you probably don't need to rub a banana peel on your face. I would imagine. I don't know though. I don't look like that guy. I'm like chubby, and that guy's insanely yoked. So maybe you should listen to him. If you are even a little bit physically fit, you basically have like an unlimited mandate to convince 50 million insecure young men all around the world that anything you say is true. Like, by virtue of being physically fit, you now have an unlimited mandate to convince them to do anything. That's the only credential that you need. There's such an epidemic of steroids because of people like him. Yeah, there's like a genre of guy in their 30s who does steroids but doesn't really work out. So you see them, they have like a red face and a thick neck and like thick neck veins and stuff. And they look like weirdly striated forearms. Like they look like they might do something, but their body's just kind of like thumb shaped. Alex Jones. I bet Alex Jones is roided. All these guys support RFK too. Oh God, yeah, of course. Nah, they're not taking HGH. That's like a higher level thing. You got to be really into it to take that. This guy exposed him for being lazy and broke. Yeah, again, like, to me, it's about the underlying rot. Sure, I'll read this. This dude hired me in 2023 to consult for his brand. He is so broke and stupid. Thread. You lit Brody. This seems a little unethical, but I don't care. You lit Brody. Thanks. We getting somewhere? Yes, sir. W. Can you send the payment for this last month? By the way, last month, also 19th. Payment, we got one shirt. That's a maybe, bro. I've seen one set of samples, not close to launch. No pants or tanks yet at all. Okay, so he's not paying the guy. Arguing over payment for merchandise. How does this prove that's the guy? I'd listen, just go with it, man. Is this really proof? You people are in the wrong mindset for the world that we live in. Trump won. Okay, liberal? Well, that does look like him. The main pieces of the collection, cargoes and a tank, and he's misspelled pieces. I don't really think this contained much information, but this guy created the X logo? Huh. I mean, I don't think he created it, but okay. All right. What are we doing right now? What are we? Yeah, he invented the letter X, essentially. We need to move the fuck on from this. Japan, South Korea, China meet to strengthen ties, a turning point in history. Huh. Really is the Chinese century. Common ground on East Asian security and economic issues amid escalating global uncertainty. Huh. Okay, crazy turning point in history. What if, because Trump alienates all of our allies, China is able to secure better relations with South Korea and Japan, which eases Chinese anxieties about their security in the South China Sea and like their vulnerability to military incursions, thereby reducing their general level of military paranoia and dampening the tensions between them and Taiwan. Probably not, but it's fun to say. Never gonna happen? Yeah, probably not. The good ending. The good ending. Keir Starmer has warned against appeasing Trump with tax cut for U.S. tech firms. Oh, great, great. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to talk about the fucking Labor Party right now. I don't want to talk about the Labor Party. I don't want to talk about these losers. Things have been ramping up for AOC. That's pretty nice. Here she is wearing a proper cut of a shirt. I know you motherfuckers, based on the kinds of shit I see in the Twitter timeline, you people are like, well, actually the proper way a shirt should fit a woman is so tight that all the buttons are about to pop off, but I assure you that's not in fact the way this shit works. You fucking gooners. AOC has been I wonder what her game plan is. You got to think, because so AOC is obviously intelligent. I don't contest this. She's made a few moves that I've disagreed with. The big one for me was being weird about Biden stepping down in favor of Kamala Harris, right? She was making some weird presumptuous statements on behalf of the Democratic inner circle about like protecting Biden prior to him stepping down and Kamala Harris going in. And I thought that was strange. And my best explanation for that, like what made most sense to me was that she thought she had some kind of interior mandate. She thought maybe she was like bidding for some kind of position or exposure. She did end up attending the DNC and she got a highlight speech there. I don't know why she did that. She's clearly got some kind of broader game going on. You know, I mean, she has ambitions for the future, which is good. You need power-hungry motherfuckers if you want to win, right? Like, what do you do if every left-leaning person in your, you know, in your caucus is like humble and contrite and, you know, oh, actually, I'm just here to represent the people. No, you need some like firebrands. Obviously, you need people who are willing to take charge. It was probably a misstep. Yeah. I would say so. I definitely it didn't help her, at least not publicly. Maybe there was some private concession that was made. Can't really say. But she is growing. Well, what happens if those power-hungry people become dictatorial themselves? Well, what happens if a car hits you when you leave the house tomorrow? What do you mean? You need power-hungry people. You need ambitious people. Otherwise, how do you win? You know, what if the moon falls into Lake Michigan? It's one of the, I don't know, how do you put it? It's one of the biggest problems with the left's like very virtue signally gatekeepy approach to building power. Like crabs in a bucket. If anyone gets too big for their britches, they get pulled down. They're being too presumptuous. They're being too aggressive. But like at the end of the day, you need like aggressive cutthroat motherfuckers to win, especially in a country like America, man. This isn't some like small, we're not talking about like a city council election. We're not talking about like you know, getting on the a board of some trust or whatever. We're talking about the presidency of the United States when you represent an ideology oppositional to the people who currently run the United States. You need to be aggressive. It's one of those, like, sometimes you feel like people don't even want to win kind of things. Was it bad for the left that she portrayed communists as extremists in a campaign email? No. And frankly, I don't even think she did that. From one of her emails. Fox News and the right wing would have you believe that my American values are something out of the Communist Manifesto, poorly censored first name. But I don't believe in healthcare, labor, and human dignity because I'm an extremist. I believe these things because I was a waitress. First of all, if you're a communist, you are definitionally a political extremist. I don't know why anyone would argue against that. Like, even communists say that. For two, this line goes hard. For three, you really, like, what do you want? You want, like, the left to win in this country by, like, convincing America that communism is a good thing? No, you fucking idiot. You need a social democrat, or maybe a socialist, wrapping themselves in the flag, talking about how, you know, American values like individualism are being crushed by corporate oligarchy. You know, you can't, I don't, it's, again, it's just a virtue signaling thing. Yeah, the only way these motherfuckers want us to get even a hair leftward in this country is if a person's waving the Soviet flag. Now, there's some people being pissy about it. Yeah, she said it at the rally, or she said a version of it.
You know, Fox News and the right wing will have you believe that these American values are something out of the Communist Manifesto. That we believe these things because we went to college and read them in a book somewhere. But let me tell you, Fox News, I don't believe these things. I don't believe in healthcare, labor, and human dignity because I'm a Marxist. I believe it because I was a waitress. Because I scrubbed toilets with my mom to go to school.
This is, by the way, like, this is literally, like, on the book leftist messaging. The idea that your prioritization of leftist values and leftist political thought isn't some abstract, like, book reading or whatever, but just a consequence of engagement with the real world as a worker. Like, yeah, it's just, like, it's literally, like, picture perfect representation of how you should be framing this. What do you want her to do? She go up there and she's like, now everyone has to read the Communist Manifesto. I saw Hassan getting a little pissy about this, which I don't know, I guess you can sort of expect, because he does play into the virtue signaling bit a little bit when it comes to left-leaning messaging. It wasn't too much. It wasn't too much. What was it? What did I see? Did I not see it? I'm looking at his Twitter right now and I don't see it. Is it not there? Am I misremembering it? Oh, no, here it is. I don't think reading the Communist Manifesto makes you an extremist. It's very good and simple to understand. Everyone should read it. Yeah, you know, it's kind of like a vague tweet, but... Nothing but the highest IQ responses here. Hassan's terrible at rhetoric? No, he's not. I just think, you know, you have to focus on the point that's being made. The point from AOC is not nobody should read the Communist Manifesto. That's obviously not the point of what she's saying. The point of what she's saying is, like, you can arrive at supporting these positions. You can arrive at these values just by experiencing what life is like as a working class American. Hassan's rhetoric is clearly directed at people who already identify as leftists. AOC is speaking to regular voters. Yeah, but the problem is, okay, you know how the most effective neo-Nazis don't lambast Trump when Trump says stuff like, we support equal opportunity, not equity? Like, America is a great place for all as long as you're legal, but rather they support all of the explicitly reactionary stuff the administration does. You know how it's good for us when people like Nick Fuentes separate themselves from the broader MAGA coalition by saying like, well, he's not Hitlerite enough or whatever, they're most effective when they fall in line. That's what I'm saying, basically. You want to have like a popular front because you really, really, really don't want to inflame a narrative that AOC is like a disingenuous, backstabbing shitlib who's actually like principally anti-leftist or whatever, because there are a lot of lefties who already think that. I'm not saying that you can't criticize. I'm saying like you have to understand what angle they're pushing for, understand the way they're approaching people, and try to follow in with that. You know, don't engage in like this reflexive contrarianism where you where you try to like distinguish yourself as the more lefty type or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I hope this keeps working, man. AOC has been really destroy the gulag in your head. And no, AOC has been doing quite a good job. About 2/3 of Democrats have a favorable opinion of Ocasio-Cortez, and just 5% view her unfavorably. That's very impressive. Among all adults, about 4 in 10 had a negative view of Ocasio-Cortez, while about 3 in 10 had a positive view. That makes sense to me, because where do you hear about AOC? That's right, from Fox News. The right wing is the one that talks about her, not the left wing. If you watch MSNBC, NBC, CNN, you know, ABC, how often does AOC come up? Not too often. You watch Fox News, you hear about her all the time. Every right-winger is anti-AOC. And so far, you know, her reach has been mostly limited to her district and the left. So this is an opportunity for her to spread her wings a bit. Try to reach out to a broader constituency. They interview her quite a bit on MSNBC nowadays. There has been a bit of a shift. I mean, how many representatives on the Democrat side are even doing anything? Right? Like, genuinely, like, if you want to bring people on and talk with them and ask them, like, you know, what's up? What are you doing? Anything interesting you want to talk about? There's not that many of them actually doing anything. On both sides, to be fair. I think a lot of Republican reps, even Republican senators, are starting to recognize the fact that they're kind of useless now. You get that feeling? The whole unitary executive theory, I mean, what's the value of even a Republican rep or senator? Every once in a while you get to push through a bill, but for the most part, like, the spotlight's off of you. Yeah, I saw she was on NPR recently. Is this program content ID'd? Morning edition? Probably not.
Resolved. If I had to pick one word, it would be resolved.
It's not shocked or dismayed or anything like that at this moment?
I mean, in
on
this
the defensive?
moment, I think we've moved through shock. I think we've moved through dismay. I think we've moved through the 5 stages of grief. I think we've moved through that defensiveness. But it is, I think, a rapidly evolving situation. And I would say this week, especially in the light of last night's budget vote, the moment right now, today, is resolved.
We're talking.
You said before that she'd be a terrible idea for president. Do you think you're starting to change the position? No, not yet. No. For a senator, sure. For a president, she's too young, and she's a woman, and that will bother a lot of people. I don't know. We might get like a punished AOC sometime in the future. Like, she's got a deep scar running down the eye and she's got a more gravelly voice, but she's kind of, you know, double caught here. Because not only is she a young woman, she's like quite young looking and sounding for the age that she already is. You know what I mean? Like, she literally has a cartoon face. When she smiles, it's all front teeth and red rosy cheeks, and she has like a, you know, like a boisterous, high-pitched voice. None of these are insults. I think that she's delightful, but a lot of voters are sexist.
Here on a Wednesday, the night before there was this budget vote, every single Democrat voted no. Do you consider that an accomplishment, that your party was united, even if it was united?
This was before Schumer backstabbed everyone and pushed for the Democratic Senate to vote yes.
In a no.
Yes, I mean, of course, if we were not united in yesterday's vote, I think we would be in far, far, far deeper trouble. But the fact that there is this much unity is important. It is, I think, a baseline prerequisite for the moment to come and the fight over Medicaid, Medicare, and frankly, huge swaths of the American economy.
Do you assume that Republicans...
I don't buy the sexist argument. Mexico elected Sheinbaum. Yeah, okay, but here, hold on. I'm again, none of this should be construed on my end as an argument against AOC. I'm talking about public perception. Sheinbaum looks way more like a national leader than AOC does. She's older and has a much more serious face. Also, I'm not saying that there aren't sexists in Mexico, but America, we have a very specific conception of what our president looks like. That's what, when people say, like, is so-and-so presidential, this is what they mean. Now, obviously, that's a very racially and gender-biased perception. Again, I'm not validating or affirming any of these biases. I'm only saying that they reflect in how people vote. Don't you think it's not a coincidence that there is a very strong tendency since television was invented for the taller candidate to win the presidential election? In fact, how often does taller presidential candidate win election? Candidates that are taller than their opponents are perceived as more popular, rated by experts as greater, more leadership communication skills, received more popular votes, although they were not significantly more likely to win the actual election. So they're more likely to win popular votes, but not the election. I guess that's the Electoral College for you. Taller presidents were more likely to be reelected. Well, it's complicated.
Republicans are going to give you the issues that are going to allow you to come back.
And Donald Trump said, do not solve this problem as long as
Bosh Mexican men are extremely sexist too. Listen, I can't make you who you aren't, okay? You're either a person who listens or a person who doesn't. You can argue against the position that I have, or you can futilely shadow box in the corner, all right? I've already teleported behind you. My katana is drawn, okay? I'm just saying, like, understand who you're up against.
Is broken, then it will be politically beneficial for us. And so it is a problem not just for Democrats, it's a problem for the entire country that Republicans do not want to solve any sort of issue with immigration. They are completely uninterested in...
I think part of it is also the fact that people tend to, and this might be my opinion, but I do think that there's some validity to this. People think New York accents are charming, and she does have one. I know that's a very broad categorization, but it's still true. People tend to find them charming. They tend to find them unserious in women and more serious in men. I think that people generally think New Yorker accents are unserious, but I think that they see it more so, like the association with women who have like the New Yorker accent, they see it more as like a, I don't know, Sopranos, Dawn wife kind of thing, right? Italian moms. Whereas there's a kind of, I don't know, grungy seriousness to the, you know, I'm walking here, but from a guy. Yeah, isn't this just sexism? Yes, I'm talking about sexist biases in the public. That's the whole thing I'm talking about. Yes. I think it's, if I had to guess, I would say when I hear New Yorker accent or whatever, you again, like I'm very much generalizing here, okay? But when I hear that accent, I think of Italians, like cops, the mob. I think of the 1930s. I think of brick buildings. I think of how America was a century ago. And I think of housewives and, you know, kind of fat men with hairy chests. I guess I think of Italians mostly, because Italians kind of like are the cultural reps of New York City and New Jersey, in my opinion at least. You think of Lois Griffin? I think of Lois Griffin a little bit. Yeah. So maybe it's like when you hear that accent from a woman, it comes across as less educated, whereas with a guy you might think like, oh no, yeah, he's just like one of the fellas. I'm not sure. I don't know. Peter. Yeah. I don't know. Bro watches The Sopranos once. Yeah, but every episode's an hour, and there's like 60 episodes, 70 episodes. So yeah, like you watch The Sopranos once, it's the equivalent of watching 35 straight Sopranos movies. It is, I'm basically Italian now, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I don't know. I really am hoping for the best for AOC. She's one of the few glimmers of hope that we have.
In addressing undocumented people, in addressing a path to citizenship.
Well, they do want to address undocumented people by removing them. I mean, that's what the president is attempting now.
Even then.
Is this guy, I can't believe it. Is this guy actually wearing a good suit? That's a lapel roll. The shoulders fit correctly. Holy shit, I can't believe it. Is it finally happening? He doesn't have the dimple in the center of his tie, but I guess that's a preference thing for cleanliness. He's got a nice roll on the collar of his shirt. Is it finally happening?
Documented people by removing them. I mean, that's what the president is attempting now.
Even then.
We need to see the pants, yeah.
You see what Republicans did with the Lake and Riley Act recently in their passage with it, in that they authorized the complete gutting of due process. So now you can take a DACA recipient, a dreamer, just accuse them of a crime.
And deport them.
And however, they also understand that they don't even have the infrastructure to do that. So they're actually creating it's not even about creating a deportation pipeline. They are creating a private prison camp pipeline. So they're still creating pipelines to just increase this problem here in the United States.
Why do you think this issue did seem to be a political loser for Democrats among key groups and key constituencies?
You can only keep saying they won't like AOC because of X so many times until it just sounds like you're revealing your personal biases. Genuinely, where in life do you find happiness when you look for excuses to be cynical so readily? Come on. If I talk about like America being racist and you're like, okay, buddy, that's the third time you've said America is racist. Starting to think you're talking about yourself here. What? Oh, sorry, I was adjusting my light, not turning it off. You think I'm racist? If I was racist, then could I turn black at will? You like that? Was that good? One for the clip farmers. I want AOC to win. Don't get me wrong. If AOC was the there are few people who could do a better job than her. And I think that's mostly because being a good president has to do with like political instincts and public will, more so than like decades of experience, obviously. By the standards of his administration, Trump is a unprecedentedly successful president in terms of how much he's getting done. It's just the things that he's getting done are evil and destructive. I guess it's harder to build things than to break them. but I think she could do it. Do you think she could win in 2028? I don't know if we're all going to be alive in 2028. Maybe she could, but I think more things have to change. Honestly, I think a lot of it is just a matter of her presentation, you know? I really do think that one of the biggest things that's holding her back is the fact that she's a young woman. Now, she can only age at 1 day per day. That's the rate at which most people age, I'm told. That still is aging. Needs an eye patch. If she could just get an eye patch, maybe like a Tulsi Gabbard gray hair streak. I don't know. Yeah, she needs to take up smoking. That might help with the voice too. Deepen it a little bit. She can do stuff with her hair and clothes to appear older. Yeah. I wonder if being more angry. One of the things, it's so difficult to be angry as a female politician. It's so difficult. Because everyone's just gonna fucking call you a bitch, you know? If you're a man, you can have the most embarrassing tirades all the time. And it's just like you just get to do that. She needs to transition. Oh, that'd be a timeline. Didn't she kind of pull that off the DNC? I maintain that whoever pulls us out of this mess, when we get pulled out of this mess, if we get pulled out of this mess, will be someone who can call Trump a retard. Maybe not a retard. I don't know, call him a fucking idiot. She needs to practice in the mirror. I don't know. I'm rooting for her. Really, I am. She clearly wants to go farther, you know? There are other people in the squad, you know, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. I don't know if it's that they don't want to go farther. I think it's just they're limited by their circumstances a little bit. Mostly to be perceived as activists. But AOC might bridge... you know, AOC might bridge that gap, the activist politician. It's tough to be both. Look at Corbyn. Look at Corbyn. Here. I'm going to take a piss real quick. We got more stuff to talk about. Oakley dokley. Jesus. Sorry, hold on. I saw this and it's just too funny. There's this I don't actually know if it's a candidate or a cause or whatever, but there's these, it's like left NIMBYism. It's this group in New York City who's like, well, building more housing is gentrification, actually. It's the left NIMBYism, you know?
This is a gentrifier.
Hi, I am a YIMBY. Yes, in my backyard. Luxury condos, luxury condos.
It's a bit insufferable.
Luxury condos, just luxury condos. We need many more luxury towers like this one so that eventually it will lower the cost of housing. One day, all of us will be able to live in luxury condos. You have to let your landlord evict you so he can tear down your building and build a luxury high-rise and increase housing supply.
I'm this guy unironically.
YIMBYs are gentrifiers. If you don't want to be a gentrifier,
Hello,
here's someone
Drip.
you should support.
Chris Marte, the leading anti-displacement city council member who
Okay, it's a
successfully
candidate.
stopped luxury towers. Developers and YIMBYs hate him. People love him.
New Yorkers, help Chris Marte win big in this upcoming election and say no to the agenda of big real estate.
Don't be a YIMBY. Vote Chris Marte.
Actual psyop. Yeah, the this ad brought to you by like people who want to keep their housing prices exceptionally high. I love them though. I like their energy. They have another video where a guy wearing a Balenciaga cap is complaining about luxury development. Show me the video.
You're living in New York City. You're a student or a young worker, and you're living in New York City, you're probably also struggling to afford your rent. You are not a gentrifier. You are not supporting developers. But you know who are? The YIMBYs.
We should all unite with our communities to fight the real gentrifiers, YIMBYs. YIMBYs elected officials and the developers they shell for.
Say no to YIMBYs and yes to actual affordable housing.
How? Where does the affordable housing come from? This counselor opposes congestion pricing, by the way. Yeah, it makes sense. Anybody who's against new development is probably supported largely by boomers who want to keep their housing prices really, really, really high, their investments. So it makes sense they'd also be in favor of, like, you should be able to drive to downtown Manhattan without paying $8 or whatever. Man, when I went to New York City, that congestion pricing fucking worked. Overwhelming victory, man. Middle of the day, I was on like 36th Street, just walking around, eating a bagel. Barely any cars on the road. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. I know I don't have anything to compare it to from my like prior experience visiting New York City because I haven't been to New York City before, but I've seen pictures and videos of what Midtown and downtown Manhattan look like, so... Yeah, I went to New York City during its very brief golden age. What kind of bagel? I don't know. A New York kind of bagel? What do you want from me? Youth against displacement. Can I... Hold on. Youth against displacement. I have, like... I've always had a really strong interest in these cynical attempts to weaponize the aesthetic of youth progressivism, populism, whatever, to support reactionary causes. How do you get videos? Okay, these are all... I don't know how Instagram works. Okay, they demand the release of Mahmoud Khalil. That's nice. I think that's cool.
A beloved public space in Lower Manhattan.
Mayor Eric Adams and the city are trying to evict it so that they can give this land away to a developer. But why?
They claim that destroying the gardens would allow developers to build affordable housing. Sounds good, right?
The issue is the city has been destroying both affordable housing and green spaces for decades.
Over a decade ago, we were promised 100% affordable housing to be built here on the Lower East Side as part of the Seward Park Urban Renewal Area.
Instead, former council member Margaret Chin moved the designated
Still
senior housing
dripped
from this
out.
site to Elizabeth Street Garden.
Even though a developer at the time was willing to build 100% low-income housing, Chin rejected the idea to move forward with a plan that took decades to only build 50% of the promised affordable housing.
The city's claim that it cares about affordable housing is a lie.
When this parking lot was identified as an alternative for affordable housing, the city rejected it.
All the city cares about is bowing down to developer interests.
This is what the sellout system does.
It pits green community spaces against affordable housing and tells us we can't have both. It's time to stop fighting for crumbs.
This is Elizabeth Street Garden.
Why are all the people in the ads kids? I mean, that's the group they're trying to appeal to, right? Is it? Do we think there might be like a middle ground here a little bit, where you could build new housing but it not be like unaffordable luxury condos?
Over the last 2 months, we surveyed over 100 small businesses about congestion pricing. We even wrote a little report about it.
Oh yeah, they're anti.
It's killing our community in Chinatown and the Lower East Side. More than 85% of small businesses oppose congestion pricing outright.
Small businesses?
Over 70% are experiencing decrease in customer traffic. More than 65% are experiencing an increase in delivery costs. And half of the small businesses are having trouble with employees getting to work.
Almost 90% of the small businesses we surveyed said congestion pricing would make it harder for them to pay the rent. But look, numbers are boring.
They said it would?
The report if you care, but the heart of the matter and what everyone's avoiding when we talk about congestion pricing is displacement. Business owners have been in Chinatown for decades and are now seeing the 1,000 tiny cuts that are bleeding us dry. Rents are over $20,000 a month for stores and margins are already thin.
Here's some quotes from the businesses themselves.
Famous Sichuan on Pell Street said,
"You know what would bring those rent costs down? You know what you could do to bring the cost of rent down? You're not going to like it.
Business has dropped by 70% since congestion pricing started. I'm very dissatisfied with Governor Kathy Hochul. The charging policy only applies to the area south of 60th Street in Manhattan. It's very unfair to the residents and businesses here. No fees are levied on other areas."
The pickle guys on
I down 70%? I just don't know if I believe that.
Grand Street said, "I sell a $9 product. It's hard for my customer to pay $9 toll and $4 for parking to buy a $9 product. Everything goes up, so I'm forced to pass it on to my customers."
Who drives into Manhattan and parks in Manhattan, gets out and buys a single $9? That's psychotic. Why are they driving to your shop? There's a metro station every block.
Do you want to talk about our health?
I walked around Chinatown, by the way. Good luck finding a parking space there. Like, what? Well, I don't even know why you'd try. That's insane to me.
From the environment, is it healthy for workers to spend 2 hours extra a day commuting, to be worried about their rent burden? People are also part of the environment, and when we forget that, we suffer.
Kathy Hochul needs to do better.
I just find this psyop really fascinating. I'm sorry. Maybe it's not a deliberate psyop. It's just.
People are telling people to, hey, wait a minute. Hey, this is not right.
I'm being handled.
These are protest videos. I want to have it explained to me how building new housing is racist or something. Damn, they got a crack team here.
Youth Against Displacement and the Coalition to Protect Chinatown and the Lower East Side has been speaking to small businesses, conducting a survey to find out how congestion pricing is affecting our community.
We've heard reports of less foot traffic in the area and increased delivery costs.
Why would foot traffic... Okay, we've heard reports. Why would foot traffic go down if congestion pricing went up? How does that work? How would it work that way?
These factors make it harder and harder for them to run their businesses and thrive. Let's hear from one now.
Saiful Islam, the business name is Essex Gourmet Corp, 115 Rivington Street, Lower Side of Manhattan, New York, New York.
How long has your business been in Chinatown or in the Lower East Side?
27 years. Family owns operate the business.
How do you feel about congestion pricing?
Horrible.
Yeah?
Yes, horrible.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't do this because they kill all the small businesses in 60 below. And 60 below, I don't even see that much traffic. If there's no traffic, who's gonna do business with? And I don't even see.
I know Guy goes to New York City once and now he's an expert in New York City. I really do not think car traffic is where you're getting your business from. Everyone's walking over there. There's even a saying about it.
Like local walking traffic. So a person doesn't come in, who you gonna sell it to?
How's the business changed since you guys opened it?
The rent like went up sky high. It's maybe 15 times more.
15?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's really bad.
This is very bad for us.
Youth Against Displacement and the Coalition to...
But what does that have to do with congestion pricing? Those are unrelated. Those are totally unrelated, you know? They should build more and implement, you know, rent control, in my humble opinion, personally. That's what I think. NYC already has it. To an extent, you know. I don't know. It's just like there's Chinatown on the Lower East Side. East Village and the West Village and so on and so forth. Where's Little Italy? Shouldn't that be around here? Shouldn't Little Italy be somewhere here? They overlap? Yeah, but it's like it's really little. You got to zoom in more. All right, I'm zooming. Now I'm zooming out. This wasn't very helpful. This is from 2023. This is before congestion pricing. Jesus, look at all those people. In this shot? Can you imagine wanting to come to a business down here and you're like, oh yeah, I'll drive and park? I don't know. It's because some of these people come in from Queens? Yeah, but isn't there like a metro? Rent control is a bad idea. Rent control is fine as long as you build new properties along with it. You know, there's like an element of decommodification there. Oh, now we're in Little Italy. There we go. I was right here. Plenty of people drive in the outer boroughs. Yeah, well, the outer boroughs aren't what we're talking about, is it? We're talking about Manhattan because that's where the congestion pricing is. Cannolis. Such a beautiful area. The entire world really is in that city, huh? It really is. It really is. No, yeah, the effects of congestion pricing have been overwhelmingly positive, for sure. And also, because there's so much less traffic on the road, travel times in and out of Manhattan have decreased substantially. Look, trip times across river crossings into the congestion pricing area continue to be much faster than last January. There's a lot of good there. Average daily ridership of subways and buses, they're up. Ridership of Lear and the MNR, they're up. I mean, I don't know. I really think this shit is just astroturfed. I just think it's astroturfed. Youth Against Displacement started in 2018. We're a group of the young and young at heart fighting the overdevelopment and displacement of Chinatown and the Lower East Side. We organized the picket line in front of the Museum of Chinese in America to open the original Jingfeng and hold the museum accountable for $35 million. I don't know the specifics of this. On the picket line, it's a micro niche movement, then yeah, but it's interesting. I'm dumb. What does AstroTurf mean? It's like fake grassroots. Maybe it's not fake. Maybe they're just misguided. I don't know. Don't you copyright me.
Mary solution that Governor Hochul is making it out to be. A flat tax will always hurt those with less money more. Small businesses will be forced to make room for big box stores.
Oh, anti-congestion
big flagship
pricing.
Stores. Congestion pricing is a regressive policy that will rope off Lower Manhattan to become a rich person's playground. Not only does it harm people who live here, but the workers, small businesses, doctors, customers, friends, family, and people who've been displaced already but still travel into this neighborhood to be part of our community. Congestion pricing is wildly unpopular, with nearly 65% of New Yorkers opposing the policy. And Hochul knows this. Just days before the presidential election, she blocked it from going into effect, saying that the cost was too much for working people. Yet as soon as the Democrats lost, she brought the plan right back. Is our community just another chess piece for Hochul to play with? Hochul tries to use young people like me, pretending that this is for our futures and to protect our environment. But people are part of the environment.
The comments do seem to be pushing back quite a
by allowing real
bit.
estate to displace our neighbors and pollute our air to build their luxury development projects. Instead of taking more money from working people, the governor must rein in the MTA's careless spending and stop giving away billions to developers who profit off our struggle. It's time Hochul learned to respect the working people she was elected to represent and found alternatives that protected our livelihoods. Mary's solution that Governor Hochul is...
It's interesting, right? It's like you're so aesthetically and rhetorically adjacent to points that normally we would agree with, but you're at the last, there's just like a turn, you know, like a last second turn.
That is an absolute insult in every sense of the word to Porky's memory. You have his book over here, and I can assure you, if he was alive today, he would say, take that book off your shelf. Porky Lee is a very...
This is like a more Chinatown specific thing, not really about the economics. They're mad at Mocha. Literally advocating for MTA cuts, literal austerity politics. Yeah. It's just strange. And they're all young. Like, all of them. It's just... The Lower East Side's newest luxury development is built on the stolen wages of Chinese women. Like, that's such a pointed, like, like, make the anti-development argument lefty through ChatGPT or whatever.
Did you know that your rent is going up because of the city's racist displacement agenda? Luxury developers buy off elected officials to enact policies to make them richer.
And forces working people out of their homes.
One of their best tools to do that is by rezoning, where they can change what can be built and where. But we can use this tool to our advantage.
If communities can decide how we grow, then we can have more affordable housing and less displacement.
But why? Why?
That's why Youth Against Displacement fights for the Chinatown Working Group Plan.
What's your solution to these problems? All those places are expensive. Yeah, but you notice that they're not calling for the development of apartment buildings that are affordable, right? Like, yeah, it's they're not proposing any solutions. They're literally just showing, like, here's new development. We don't like that. Like, yeah, it's expensive. No shit. It's Manhattan. It seems like they're just like degrowthers or something, you know?
Community-led rezoning that protects Chinatown and the Lower East Side.
Join us at the picket line.
See, like, they don't have a solution. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated. I find this content kind of disgusting. I'm just fascinated. I locked in and started cleaning my room when you talked about it earlier. My room is now clean. It feels so much better. If only people listen to me more often. If this is a segment, you know some people are going to latch onto this and turn this into drama. There's no drama. Here, first of all, this is a group of like 10 young people in New York City, okay? I command an army of billions of autists, for one. For two, like, I just want to know what their solution is to high housing costs. Like, you know, they're anti-congestion pricing. They take the opinions of small business owners for fact. They're for MTA cuts or MTA austerity, so they want less money going into the metro, I guess. They use accusations of racism all over the place to protest against these developments, which I don't necessarily think are invalid. Racism is, you're not going to believe this from me, a real problem. I don't know, like, what's the damn solution? Because I'm in favor of building more housing in Manhattan. There's plenty of room for it. And I'm also in favor of rent control. Just needs to be done in tandem with that construction, proper maintenance. Chat claiming Asian people in NYC are making up racism is kind of disgusting. Yeah, people in chat are maybe taking the claims a bit too far. Obviously, the racism thing's a real issue. I mean, it's Chinatown, you know? It's more about like how much you're weaponizing those claims to an insincere point. Hence the astroturfing thing. But I don't know. Ah! That was very...
Come with Youth Against Displacement to present at the Asian American Arts Alliance's January town hall titled Homeland. We talked about our anti-displacement organizing in Chinatown and the Lower East Side, including our Mocha picket line, how our fight against...
You gotta say, though, they're pretty effective, right? Like, it seems to be a group of, like, 15 young people, but they've been really aggressive for a year now, more than a year, for years now. You know? Like, protesting, showing up, they're loud. They're very disproportionately influential.
Displacement unites people across race and industries.
They have consistent messaging.
Displacement. We shared the stage with Vivian Sansour, who showed a video of her work for a free Palestine. Some of our friends also pitched their work relating to the town hall's focus of decolonization, abolition, and anti-capitalist organizing. We ended the town hall with a potluck and a lot of mingling. Thank you to A4 for inviting us to present at their town hall. And we'll see you at the Mocha Picket Line Thursdays through Sundays, 11.
Who's paying them? Why are you asking conspiracy bait questions? I don't fucking know. Maybe they just fundraise themselves. It seems like they're pretty good with the messaging. Mocha, when we exposed them for selling out Chinatown for a mega jail for $35 million. This shit has music. I can tell just by looking at it. Ah, loud.
You might be wondering who Jonathan Chu is and why we're yelling shame on you at him. Well, Jonathan Chu is Chinatown's biggest landlord and the board co-chair of the Museum of Chinese in America, or MoCA. You're seeing Jonathan Chu enter MoCA's fundraising gala, where tickets range from $1,000 to $2,500, and table sponsorships went as high as $88,000 because the $35 million...
Okay. Is it not a little bit funny that at a Chinese like art fundraising gala, the highest tier table is jade? Like you have silver, gold, and jade is the highest one. Is that not funny? I don't know. What's the most Chinese valuable material we can think of?
$1 they took as jail bribe money to support the borough-based jail plan wasn't enough. We refuse to let MoCA continue to sell out Chinatown for its own profit and further the destruction of Chinatown and the Lower East Side.
It's stereotypical, so yes, it's fine. I don't think it's stereotypical. I think that Chinese people actually really like jade. I think that's fine to say. I think that's true, right? It's cool. I mean, I'm not anti-jade. I think jade's very pretty. I know I've been on this for a while. Sometimes stuff like this is like a kiln, you know? I'm like an instrument, all right? I'm like a tool. And when I'm going over like big mainstream news, political articles, what has Donald Trump done? What is he doing? You know, I can feel myself blunting. I'm getting worn down. And then I need to take a second to like refocus, right? I'm looking at this and now I'm thinking about the world in new ways. We should get off this though, so I have time for another segment before I have to read donos. So, okay, so this is the Chinatown Working Group Plan. This is the thing that they're advocating for. What is the CWG plan? The CWG is a community-led rezoning plan that protects Chinatown and Lower East Side neighborhoods from overdevelopment and displacement by settling rules on how land can be used. Okay? The CWG limits the height of new buildings, requires all housing built on NYCHA land to be affordable to low-income residents, requires significantly more housing to be truly affordable to the community by using the local income level to determine the rent of new units. Okay. Limits the number of hotels that can be built in the area. Okay. Okay. But how much, like what height limit? Like what new, like how much new development do you want? Why would we want to limit the height of housing in Manhattan? Because this is Chinatown. This isn't downtown or midtown. You know, it's its own community. There's a lot of historical weight to the way the neighborhood is laid out, and I think you can respect that while doing new development. Chinatown is downtown. No, it's not the part of downtown. You know what I mean. I'm not a local. I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with the exact demarcations that a local might say. You can look at a map. We're nitpicking, you don't actually disagree with them. Nuts. You've got a bee in your bonnet. I've noticed. Real estate rates and rent hikes sometimes push them out. By limiting the height income eligibility of new development, it disincentivizes wealthy developers from coming into the neighborhood because they simply won't be able to make that much money in the long run. By putting a plug in how much and what type of development can happen, the CWG plan protects all parts of the neighborhood from displacement. Okay, but like what actual development do you want to do? Ah! Visual summary of the plan. It's a picture of a butthole. Oh, you, my friends, shit. I did it. Forgot that you can do that. Wait. Why is it upside down in some parts of it still? Wait, did they... Okay. It's on purpose? Oh, okay. Whatever. Kind of a little odd to put in your PDF that you put online. Okay. What would change for the district with existing zoning, special district zoning? With special district zoning, landowners cannot make major renovations or demolish buildings unless they've received an anti-harassment certification to guarantee on-site permanently affordable housing. The size of new buildings reflects existing scale and character of the neighborhood. Support diverse small business development such as big box stores and hotels prohibited. What would it provide? Creation of new affordable housing. But you got to talk about it then. I don't know. $120-foot height limit. That's fine. okay, these provisions look fine, or these look fine. I'm kind of being sold on the height limit. Oh, there should be a height limit for Chinatown. Sure, yeah. Have some visual distinctions in the neighborhood. I don't know. Just seems odd to me. Why the anti-congestion pricing shit? Why the small business tyranny reporting shit? I don't know. Why don't they talk about building new housing? I don't know. Why say YIMBYs are gentrifiers? You realize YIMBYs would be in favor of building these 120-foot new apartments. That's also YIMBYism. Like what I guess maybe it's to drive engagement or controversy, right? Like, oh, YIMBYs are gentrifiers or whatever. This is YIMBY. If you're building this, you're building like a mixed use walkable neighborhood. This is YIMBYism. I don't understand why they're drawing. Why are they trying to divide us? I don't get it. It's rage bait for outer borough diasporoids. If it's rage bait for outer borough diasporoids, then why are they anti-congestion pricing? The outer borough diasporoids are the ones who are most hurt by the congestion pricing. So they get the New Jersey support too, I don't know. Yeah, but how influential is New Jersey support for a Chinatown whatever? You know what? I feel like I've explored this to the limits of my curiosity. How fascinating. I mean that sincerely. Fox News is scared of Bernie and AOC's anti-oligarchy tour. They're trying to push moderates like Slack in his opposition. You should check out this clip. Sure. Not really a clip. It's 10 minutes long. But, I mean, I welcome the, I guess, fear and derision of my enemies, you know. How afraid are they?
All right, moderates, watch out. The socialists are stepping up to fill the leadership vacuum in the Democrat Party. Bernie Sanders and AOC are hitting the road with their Fighting Oligarchy tour in red and blue states, taking aim at the usual suspects like Elon Musk and President Trump. But they are also throwing some shade at their own. Watch.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us, too. I want you to look at every level of office around and support Democrats who fight, because those are the ones who can actually beat Republicans.
You got guys playing defense, but they also play offense. Our offense is to remind us all and every person in this country, we are the wealthiest nation in the history of this world.
But the moderate wing of the party is doing their best to counter AOC. Democratic Michigan Senator Elissa Slotkin fired this shot. Listen closely.
I can't just chain myself to the White House and become an activist full time, because you and others here are going to call me for things that you need. All of those things require...
Yeah, for those who don't know, this is the moderate Democrat, aka neocon, who was chosen to respond to Trump's State of the Union address, his address to a joint session of Congress. We hate her.
Me to be more than just an AOC. Everyone you mentioned has a lot of words, but what have they actually done to change the situation with Donald Trump?
But if all else fails, the Bidens are looking for a comeback.
That was an incredibly weak pushback for Fox News The Center, by the way. Like, as a counter to AOC and Bernie, this, like, nobody up-and-coming senator, like that's like the rejoinder you're following with? Okay.
NBC News reporting that former President Joe Biden and his wife, former First Lady Jill Biden, have been putting out some feelers to Democratic leaders and saying, look, you know, we can help you. We can do fundraising.
That's great. By the way, so far, nobody's been biting. No. Tell me a little bit more about AOC and Bernie. How do you feel about that?
that mean that you don't talk about things that, you know, you get out there and you torch things or you burn things up? I'm not sure what that means. And plus, I think it's kind of crazy that they want to fight an oligarchy when I think it was Fetterman the other day said, I don't think the Democrats should use the word oligarchy. The American people don't know what it means. And I don't think they know what it means, especially Bernie Sanders, because he's a socialist. And the truth is that, you know, socialists control pretty much every aspect of your society, and they want to fight the oligarchy. I mean, I don't quite get it all. But this is a whole bunch of nothing from a whole bunch of nobodies, because Donald Trump broke the Democrat Party. They don't have a message. They don't have a messenger. They just want to fight. They don't know what they want to fight about. Half of them are happy about what's going on with the torching of the Tesla vehicles.
I feel like you have to take pointers from the enemy sometimes, right? Where you have to get a feel for what they're afraid of. There's nothing that there's nothing that Republicans are less afraid of than Joe Biden, right? Like it even became a running joke with Donald Trump that he wanted Joe Biden to be the guy he was up against. He still talks about Joe Biden, worst president ever, of course, but like they have nothing to fear from him. They know he's weak. They know that he's, well, in addition to being like 500 years old, he's also, he represents an ideology that doesn't really pose a threat to them. They have always treated AOC like a real threat, you know? The idea that they go after her because she's an easy target is laughable. They go after her for literally anything they can. And there's so much internal incoherence, right? I mean, I know that's not new from Fox News, but like AOC and Bernie are radicals because they're socialists, but also the whole government is socialist, but they're more radical than Kamala Harris and Joe Biden even, but Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are also radical Marxist socialists. If the fascists need to keep painting you as this over and over and over again to make a point, it kind of, they're telling you what they're afraid of, right? I mean, it's not subtle. They know there's a reason why they preferred Hillary Clinton to Bernie Sanders as an opponent in 2016.
Nobody's coming out against it other than Ro Khanna and maybe Bernie Sanders. They're in the middle of an abyss. They don't know what to do. And, you know, I think in the end, the party is going to be split. They say they're like the Republican Party when the Tea Party came in and kind of fractured it. They've got like two Tea Parties. They don't know who they are or what they're about. And, you know, if final note, if AOC wants to say,
what's your weird accent? Box wine.
They're the party of the working Americans. Don't let her forget that she wouldn't allow Amazon to come to Queens.
Don't let you think she's pro working class? Don't let her forget what she did to Amazon. Don't let her forget.
There were 25,000 jobs that would have been available. $4 billion in lost wages. $4 billion
according to Amazon.
In additional business to local businesses. Don't even use the word AOC.
Jess, I have the same question when she talks about fighting, wanting someone who fights.
Dude, Gutfeld is gonna die. Look at his posture. Holy shit. I got like a twinge of back pain looking at this.
I have the same question when she talks about.
What the fuck? You're on camera, man. God, dude, I can't even like replicate. This is like to replicate this pose, I would feel like I'm doing an ableist caricature.
Fighting,
of like
wanting someone who fights,
Stephen
and
Hawking.
fighting the oligarchy. What does that actually mean to you as you hear it?
It means that we need representatives that want to be out there with the people, holding rallies and town halls, people who are talking about what's going on in the administration, the trade-offs of, you know, Trump wanting trillions in tax cuts for people who earn a ton of money and that they're going to come and cut your Medicaid. She's talking about people that are open and honest and responsive, and people who admit what's going on, the harsh realities of what's going on in some blue cities, which is, she had been talking about it. And this week I've mentioned it every day, but Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson's new book, Abundance, is coursing through the conversation in Democratic circles.
Is she the Democrat? This is the pet liberal of the five. I don't feel for her. Like, I mean, like, it's got to be a rough job.
So, AOC and Bernie, you can call them radicals. They're democratic socialists. They're talking about things like, it should be a basic human right to have good health care and to have the right to a good education and a roof over your head and be able to make enough money to put food on the table. That's not where, listen, Democratic Socialist is the left side of the party for sure, but they are bringing in crowds. He has more people showing up to his rallies now than even when he was running for president, and he had big crowds at that moment. The reason, though, that this isn't a Tea Party movement within our party, at least at this point, is that you're not seeing progressives winning their elections. They're not primarying moderates and winning it all. Moderates were hugely successful in the 2024 election on the congressional and Senate level, which is part of what Elisa Slotkin's talking about. She won Michigan as a moderate Dem when Donald Trump won as well. But
by the way, people talk about this, but I just feel like you can't accept those results as representative when the Democratic Party does everything that it can, not everything that it can, but a lot, to uplift moderates and put down progressives. I mean, Jesus Christ, look what happened to Jamal Bowman, right? It's difficult to make any kind of objective assessment of the viability or electability or popularity of any of these people when it's being done in an environment where the party is openly hostile, at the very least, to anyone who's anti-Zionist or even remotely critical of Israel. Why is he so slouchy on the right? Gutfeld's posture is making me uncomfortable.
Pritzker's getting on the road, and these town halls are huge. 800 for Pat Ryan, 1,300 for Jason Crow. That's what fighting is. It's showing up.
Tea Party, Jesse. When I think of the Tea Party, I think about smaller government and less regulation and lower taxes that pushed the Republican Party back to those roots. I'm trying to figure out, if that, do they want more government, larger government? Is that where a fringe Tea Party would push the Democrat Party at this point?
Well, we know what they want, and no one wants it. It was DEI, it was trans surgeries, it was cash bail. It's been rejected, and it's all based in cities. The Tea Party was an
cash bail. I guess that's a racist dog whistle to an extent, yeah.
National movement. It was intergenerational, and they won massive midterms. And it wasn't just in the House. They put Tea Party people in the Senate, and Trump came out of the Tea Party. So I don't see a Tea Party yet, but it could be fun to watch. I'm afraid what it's going to look like if Democrats fight harder. They shot him.
Yeah.
They fined him $500 million. They tried to strip him off the ballot. They impeached him twice. They had a guy with a gun show up to a Supreme Court justice's house after they accused him of rape. I mean, literally, what more can you guys do?
He said the quiet part out loud. Have you ever watched Jesse Waters at all?
The only thing that you haven't done is shut down the government. Be my guest. Because then we'll find out who is really an essential worker. But you're right, Jessica. You actually define fighting better than I've ever heard anybody. Because right now, your party thinks fighting is like throwing a cane at Trump. That's not fighting with a little sign. That's nothing. I think what you guys need to do is recruit, raise money, and with the midterms. Great. And then you can start doing things.
We had our strongest grassroots fundraising month, actually.
I'm so excited for you.
Well, maybe Kamala will come in and
fighting the oligarchy, Greg.
Yeah.
Is that resonating
How
with
long
Americans?
are we going to ignore the big story here?
He can talk.
AOC saying fart. I mean,
holy shit. I was going to make fun of Gutfeld for being unfunny, but he pretty much pegged you guys at your level of engagement with that clip.
Come on. You have me on this show and you don't even bring...
It did take him 7 minutes to get to that, though. No one watching this remembers that, except for you guys.
The fact that she says fart, that's from hanging around
this
Bernie,
is you.
You know what I mean? Ooh, baby.
That's from the man with the poop
message truly stinks. But yeah, Bernie and AOC, do you think they're banging the wrong drum here? No, the message. For example, I've never actually said the word oligarchy out loud until today. Oligarchy. What's next? Plutocracies? Shall we target plutocracies on behalf of the proletariat? I mean, that might make the purple man buns in the quad swoon, but it ain't going to fly in the living room, kiddos. When they talk about fighting, they're saying they need a Trump. That's what they're saying. But I'm going to define what an oligarchy is and where you can find one. It means government by the few. So the only way an oligarchy can exist is if it's non-transparent. But what's the most transparent government in history? The one that shows you where your money's being spent? The one that...
Right. Yeah, the point here isn't like rebuking the kind of stuff they say on the 5. Like, what other... If I take a look... What else are they saying here? God, Fox News posts a lot. What do we just look at? That was from a few days ago. I take it. 1 day ago. That was from 1 day ago. What else have they said about Democrats with regard to Democrats pushing back? We can start here. Biden teases comeback as AOC Bernie trash Dems on anti-Trump tour. Dems are their own worst enemy. Democrats scrambling to save their sacred cows. Dems are burning their party to the ground. Searches for remedies to quote-unquote Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, that guy that the one guy tried to make illegal and then he was outed as a child sex abuser like the day after. Nothing. Trump mocks Biden's returns to politics. I hope so. They really are the only people doing anything. I don't know. Incredible stuff, really. Wait, who are? Bernie and AOC. Literally, there's nothing else going on in the Democratic Party. There's no energy, there's no effort. Like, the news from within the party is dedicated 50% to AOC and Bernie and 50% to people going, wow, Chuck Schumer's actually really bad. By the way, what's the stream title about? Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. It was here the whole time. The White House is looking for corporate sponsorships for the Easter event. It's like this 150-year-old tradition, the egg roll, you know? For Easter, they get kids run over and they find the eggs on the lawn. They're gonna have it's gonna be like a sports game, you know, sponsored by Red Bull or probably like Black Rifle Coffee or whatever, you know. Tesla, SpaceX. Why do they need sponsorships? Because what do you mean? Because they want to show off. Corporate, they want to promote the corporations they like. They want, like, they're turning the White House into an advertisement space, right? So you have the Easter event, and it's like, oh well, let's have a giant Tesla banner here, you know? My Pillows, why not? Where are they getting the eggs? They can't get any eggs, okay? They're going to be finding Fabergé eggs in personal collections and museums and painting them white and then painting them wacky Easter colors to save on cost.
The White House, through an outside production company called Harbinger, is soliciting corporate sponsorships for this year's Easter egg roll. They range from $75,000 to $200,000 and offer logo and branding opportunities. Now, I obtained this 9-page document that's being sent to prospective sponsors, and when I showed it to a range of ethics experts and former White House officials on both sides of the aisle, the overwhelming reaction was shock and concern. Now, the egg roll has been privately funded for many years. What's different this year is the explicit promise of logo and brand activations.
It's crazy.
I just want to read to you some of the promised sponsorship perks from this document. Naming rights for key areas or elements, sponsor logos featured on event signage, custom branded baskets, snacks, beverages, or souvenirs, and mentions in official event communication and social media posts. Now,
oh, Timmy, you found the egg so quickly in that Raytheon, in the Raytheon bush, you know? Got it like spray painted on the leaves.
Sponsors will also receive tickets to the event and access to a brunch hosted by the First Lady, as well as a private White House tour. And all of the money raised is going to go through the White House Historical Association that pays for the event production. And any excess funds raised, a source familiar with planning tells me, is going to go to other similar events like Halloween and the 4th of July.
Why is the right funded by billionaires but still chock full of ads and sponsorships? Because they like the ads and sponsorships. They want those aren't like, they're not doing it for the money. They're donating the money. They're doing it because this is a way of showing fealty to Trump. You buy ads there, you get to have a White House tour. Literally, like it's just, like it's about corporate power. It has nothing to do with like funding the event. How much does the event cost? Like fucking 1/20th of what a single Trump Saturday, Sunday golfing vacation in Mar-a-Lago costs?
But the concern I am hearing from a range of ethics experts and former White House officials here is twofold. Number one, this document itself, the access and branding it is promising. I spoke to Richard Painter, who was in White House counsel's office during the Bush administration, and he told me that this document wouldn't have gotten through counsel's office in most other administrations. He said it would have been vetoed in about 30 seconds in his day. And second, what actually happens and what it looks like to have logos and branding on the South Lawn and on social media. We still don't know if the promised social media mentions will be from official White House accounts. And of course,
I hope they make it really, really egregious, right? We all like, we're taking an accelerationist perspective on the egg roll, right? We want like gigantic banners. We want it to look like really gaudy.
all of this directly goes against regulations prohibiting public officials from promoting private businesses.
Yeah, we're past that point.
This is a regulation, not a criminal statute. Betsy Klein, CNN, Washington.
Financial backers of the April 21st event be able to choose from 3 options that cost between $75,000 and $200,000. Yeah, it's not about the money. This is nothing. The most expensive package includes a corporate booth, logo placements, branded snacks or beverages, exclusive tickets to brunch with the First Lady, Melania Trump, a chance to engage the White House press corps, a private White House tour, and 150 tickets to the event. Yeah, it's about the clout. It is really funny, though. Lockheed Water. Be a part of history. This is similar to what happened with the Nazis. They basically hoard out the German state. Yeah, total corporate whores. Eggonomics. That sucks. The platinum sponsorship. Oh, you get a choice of a meet and greet or a White House tour. You don't get both, apparently. It's also cheap. Well, aren't White House tours already free? Well, presumably they're going to get to meet Trump. I don't know. I mean, it's just a single event for one day in front of the White House. Yeah, but I don't mean cheap in terms of its cost. I mean cheap in terms of, like, look at this. Looks like something you'd see thrown together by for a community event at a local church, you know? It's denigrating. It is denigrating. Yeah. All right. I got to read donos. Got a meeting after stream. A busy person, don't you know? Cash Money, Zormac, and Brawligarch, thank you for the tier 1 subs all. I really appreciate that. And Tree Bro, thank you for the tier 3 sub. A Cosmic Dragon Lover, thank you for the 2 $5 donos. Oh, you were affected by the Heathrow Airport power knockout? That fucking sucks. I'm sorry. You got turned around. You got diverted. It was for a wedding. That fucking sucks. Damn. Lol Internet Lol and Stupid Dog 83, thank you for the tier 1 subs. Much appreciated. Tofurkis and Abystris, thank you for the tier 1 subs. Maknazi River and a Cosmic Dragon Lover, thank you for the $5 both. I'm glad you finally got to Scotland, a Cosmic Dragon Lover. Thank you, thank you. And congrats on the new tattoo, River. Rhaegar99, thank you for the $5. I will not do a backflip to prove I hate Schumer. I'll have to let my words, speak for me on this one, I'm afraid. Gavin Gets Good and Sunny Cider MC, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. I really appreciate that. The Dark Knight 69, thanks the tier 1 sub. I read that Stephen Miller is like a prime minister in this administration. I haven't seen it covered at all. Oh, he's insanely influential. 100%, yeah. Absolutely. Little Nazi freak, runs a lot behind the scenes. 100%. The Eatmeister, thank you for the tier 3 sub. I always tune into the stream while I'm at the gym. You occasionally suggest we work to improve ourselves, and I say already on it, vouch out loud while lifting. Yeah, that's why, that's the beauty of these kinds of like, audio primarily live streams. You can put it on while you're doing chores and get everything sorted. Nice. Grace the Mace, thank you for the $20. When will the Democrats ever grow a spine? I don't fucking know, man. Nothing ever ends, okay? We got lots of time left in the duration of the universe for things to change. Rain Spider, thank you for the $20. I can't sub, but here's $20 from unemployment. Lost my job due to Trump and now full-time organizing. Oh, shit. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that you lost your job because of the presumably federal cuts, but I'm glad that you're turning it into something positive. That's good, at least. Ayla88, I've never seen Man in the High Castle, but it's been on the list for a while. Faye Hallow, thank you for the tier 1 sub. One to show off the 40-year-old leather jacket on which I'm replacing the lining. Have to show off the baby instead. That's a beautiful cat and a beautiful vintage leather jacket. God damn. Look at that. Look at the fade on that leather. Whew. Baby. Ellie Express, thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub. I feel like I skipped a few syllables when I pronounced that. Polito94, thank you for the $12. I really appreciate that. You were at the Denver rally. Yeah, it was huge. I hope you had a good time. Historic shit, you know? Dallin Smith and Tommy Cabello, thank you for the $2 both. Really appreciate that. Terminal Sanity, thank you for the $10. Vosh, as Gil Scott Heron said, there ain't no Superman. We just need an effective DNC leader with the sauce to succinctly and flatly call BS on every aspect of the fascist creed as a scam. It's not enough to call bullshit when Trump lies. Hillary did that. It didn't save her. No, you need a coherent, ideologically consistent counter to what the fascists are pushing for. It's not enough to say Trump is lying about immigrants. You need to have an entire narrative. You need to build an entire system. Comic Book Chat, Victorious Gardenosaurus, thank you for the $5 both. Travis and Still Live, thank you for the $2 both. Big Daddy Ian, thank you for the $10. Vosh, have you or anyone in the audience considered donating to or becoming a dues-paying member to Progressive Victory? I have considered that, as a matter of fact, you know? It has run by my mind. Absolutely. Working hard in Wisconsin. Still alive with the $5. How do you feel about people who claim language is dead and point to emojis? Retards. Literally, like, millennial, I was born in the wrong generation, I impulsively reject the trends of my era and think that everything was fine before then. Half the country wasn't really literate 200 years ago, and you think because people use emojis now, it's a reactionary position. Civilization is being destroyed because people use images to supplement their words? Come on. Jesus. Sean, thank you for the 2 $10 donos. I acknowledged what you were saying when we were going over the abundance liberalism stuff, and I acknowledge your point. Shodanks, thank you for the 2 £2 donations. Thank you. Nerve endings don't grow back, sorry. You mean for, like, the foreskin? Well, the foreskin isn't the sensitive part of the penis, right? It's the head of the penis. The foreskin is the armor that protects the head of the penis from, like, I don't know, bludgeons? Zippers? KS, thank you for the $5. Washington State Senate is considering a bill to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. That's great. That's great. Ninja Vestos, thank you for the £5. In the UK, we have first past the post, which is bad. Labour won with just 30% of the vote, but got a over 100-seat majority. Make that make sense? No, yeah, the disparity between people's votes and what the actual seat totals are in the UK are pretty fucking bad. Taters 117, thank you for the 10 Canadian. From a near daily watcher, I really appreciate the Canadian political content. I look forward to every stream. Oh, keep up the good fight. You just like me because I'm on your side in the, you know, the great North American wars that are to take place. Still alive, thanks to the 5. The people on Fox 5 do all hate each other. 100%. Absolutely. Well, folks, it's a quick stream, but it's also a weekend. You know, we don't get to watch the stock market zigzag up and down when it's a Sunday, you know. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Grow your foreskins or whatever. I don't know. Prairie Fire, thank you for the $5. Always have Vosh playing over the gym sound system. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Always explaining that away. I'm sure. Yeah, everyone take care. You always say it's a quick stream. When will you do normal streams? Asmelia, I will permanently ban you. You've been getting more stream content than ever before, okay? I'm streaming basically every day. For a guy with the hardest job in the world, like that's a big ask, all right? All right. Go Mew and grow your foreskin, okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.